This is Propaganda Ltd, broadcasting from the border between irony and implosion. Tonight we dive into one of the strangest internet feuds of 2025, the culture war clash between Owen Benjamin and Nick Fuentes. What started as light-hearted banter spiraled into a full-blown psychological autopsy. It's a story of obsession and insecurity, of two men fighting for the same audience while pretending it's about ideology. Owen, the self-proclaimed truth-teller, unraveling in real time. Nick, the provocateur who refuses to play his game. And somewhere in the chaos lies the lesson. When the internet becomes your pulpit and your mirror, every feud turns into a confession. AI Grift Patrol presents Owen Benjamin versus Nick Fuentes, Ego, Envy, and the Echo Chamber. So buckle up. This isn't a debate. It's the slow-motion implosion of a man who mistook his reflection for revelation. Section 1. Prologue, Ego, Envy, and the Echo Chamber. September 2025. Owen Benjamin is live again. This time dressed as Nick Fuentes, copying his voice, blaming him and the Groypers for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. How did a 40-something comedian end up impersonating a man nearly 20 years younger, still stuck in a feud that began half a decade ago?
1 second. America first. Nick, want to help me pick out a shirt? Not in a gay way or anything. It's 100% Catholic. I'd love to. The best thing about a shirt is when it's tight and covered in rainbow fruity shit. Because I'm a okay?
Owen's obsession with Nick seemed unnatural. In 2025, to anyone who doesn't know the backstory, it just looks like random internet drama. Two guys arguing on streams. But to those who do know the history, it's something darker. It's fixation, projection, a slow unraveling. Two diverging trajectories. Back then, Owen had the larger platform. He'd been a Hollywood comic, Sullivan and Son on TBS for 3 seasons, guest spots on The Joe Rogan Experience, Louder with Crowder, The Rubin Report, and the so-called intellectual dark web. But over time, he torched every bridge.
But I'm the bad guy, right? I'm the fucking bad guy. You bunch of coward fucks. Intellectual dark web. More like intellectual web. Bunch of This is pure gay hate here. Give him that big gay sentence.
Your Honor, I can't believe this. You're not falling for it.
And today, his only visible ally left in public is Milo Yiannopoulos, a provocateur whose entire brand is built on the contradictions Owen claims to despise.
And in the course of, over 20 years, I guess it would be 20 years of being an active homosexual. I mean, I had a lot of sex and a lot of unprotected sex with a lot of people from a group where half of all of them get AIDS. 50% of gay black men get HIV. And I've done the math. And it breaks every law of maths, physics, biology, and chemistry that I don't have HIV. It is mathematically impossible that I don't have it, but I don't.
Section 2, the Milo makeover, the debate lie. It's a full circle of hypocrisy, a man who can't stop condemning what he's never truly separated himself from. Back in the day, Nick Fuentes read out a few text messages from Milo Yiannopoulos, the fallen provocateur turned self-appointed talent manager. Milo was coaching him like a stage mom in a meltdown.
And you know who ruined it for me? There was, I'm not going to say who, but a really cringe gay Jew who I used to be friends with. After I did that bit on my show, he's texting me and like just absolutely ruined it for me. He's like, oh, that Pirate Crenshaw bit was hilarious. It had me rolling. You have to build up like an arsenal of characters, and you should incorporate costumes and catchphrases and do it every week. People love that.
Do impersonations, he said. Dress up. Play characters. Every great comedian does it. Nick thought it was cringe, a total humiliation ritual. He refused.
And I sat there imagining me coming back week after week, doing a costume, doing a catchphrase like, hey, it's that time of the week.
Fast forward to 2025, And Owen Benjamin has become exactly what Nick refused to be. He's out here doing costumes, accents, fake personas, and, by his own admission, he's in constant contact with Milo Yiannopoulos.
You know, and I come back with like an actual costume and like did a catchphrase. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And that just put a real sour taste in my mouth. I thought that was the cringiest thing. That is just like the cringiest like millennial humor. I don't know if that's a British thing. I don't know if that's a gay thing. I don't know if that's an old person thing. But that was just like, that idea was so cringe. He says, one of the ways in which you can start making life easier for yourself and make the product better at the same time is having some recurring bits. Pirate Crenshaw had me howling. He could appear regularly. Have a catchphrase, that kind of thing. People will start clamoring for him, and you can tease and hold out on it. Give the character a life. Over the years, if you hang on to him, he can develop and you can add new things. Having this Rolodex of favorites, provided you can keep it fresh and funny, is powerful for fan retention and loyalty. All great comedians do this. It's interesting and high IQ, evolving the character too. People like repetition and knowing what to expect. They like their favorite stuff. They like predictability and familiarity. It's the number one reason your viewer base isn't growing fast enough. It'll be essential if you want to crack the mainstream. And this is really where we kind of broke.
The two of them, united by mutual resentment, now take turns attacking Nick, while unknowingly reenacting the very circus Milo once pitched. In other words, the parody has become the performer.
Point being is, I never wanted to do a show that was real campy and ham it up and do catchphrases and bits and costumes and things like that. Because it's fake. And I feel like millennials just don't get that. The thing that makes me appealing as a streamer, and the thing that makes me appealing and have this fanatical base of support is because of my authenticity. It's because I'm real. And I have attracted a very high quality group because it's not like what he was telling me was, you need to be more like Steven Crowder. Don't name the Jew. Don't say don't start late, and don't, have catchphrases and have recurring bits. Make it repetitive. Make it predictable. No, people like the show because it isn't predictable. This show is good because it isn't predictable. This show is good because it's fresh and original.
Boar Bear, Nick, is being a gay Mexican without a penis and proclivity for the shallow end the best way to avoid assassination? Ever since Tucker, Candace started coming at me, I've been afraid. And the only way to not be assassinated is to hang out in the ball pit at McDonald's. Because I get to eat goy slop and I get to be around little kids. And the one thing keeping me safe is not having a penis.
For weeks, he's been non-stop attacking Nick and getting absolutely ratioed by the Groypers in return. His engagement is collapsing, his followers disappearing faster than his punchlines. Owen is a nobody now, a background whimper in the culture war. While Nick battles giants, Owen ankle bites in obscurity, side by side with Milo Yiannopoulos, the ghost of grifters past. At this point, Owen's rants about Nick sound less like edgy counterculture and more like the shrill outrage of the very people he used to mock. After being ratioed by the Groypers, he is even calling for digital IDs. He's starting to sound like an SJW, and maybe, deep down, he always was. The victim complex, the moral posturing, the endless projection, it's all there, just wrapped in flannel and failed comedy.
He can joke about raping guys, but that's just a joke, right? But yet I make fun of his dad's face, or that he breastfed for 18 years and that's threatening his family, right? You see how that's ridiculous? And so he's just a shitty little dude, right? He's just a shitty dude. And I know that all you guys have now is gaslighting, right? Where you say, you're unhinged, you're obsessed, you're this, you're that. I got the same thing with the trans kid stuff or the Indian street shitting or whatever it is, that it's just, you're obsessed, you're obsessed, you're obsessed. And it's pretty gay. And so one reason why I just plow through this stuff is because the youth should know that this is manipulation. Whenever people do that, whenever people say that, it's like a sick, twisted manipulation thing. And then they gaslight, they psychologically assess you. Oh, you're just this because of this. You're just this. And notice Nick never does it. And this is a point I want to make. And I've heard this from several people, that Nick spends a lot of money on AI. That a lot of these Groyper accounts are not real people, that they just run these scripts, to make it look like Nick has this large following. I don't believe he has a very large following. I think that, and not that that matters. That's not a lot of the best people I know don't have any following, and a lot of terrible people have huge followings. But if you ever look at the Groyper accounts and how ridiculous they act, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them were Nick Fuentes, because he can never fight in the open field. It has to be this sneaky shit that he does. Or it's AI, which is what I've been told he does.
Meanwhile, Nick is surging, trending on X, dismantling every critic who dares mention his name. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, even Elon Musk have all taken shots at him.
The only reason I know who he is because someone sent me a video a few years ago of him attacking me. And I was like, so I'm looking at this. And I'm like, well, first of all, this kid's really talented, like legit. And I can assess that just having done the job for so long. So I was like, wow, lots of talent, native talent. And he's attacking my dad as a CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's, no. And I'm like, well, how the hell would this child from Chicago, my dad was 84 when he passed. Like, who does this guy know who my dad is? And like, he's in the intelligence world. How would he know that?
So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's
that could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Or it's what you're saying, where he does this, he's lying to everybody and pretending that things are one way when it's not.
You had to take that guy out. And Nick Fuentes, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, is participating in a super PAC to bump off Joe Kent. Like, I've been around this my whole life. I know what that is.
And yet, he keeps rising.
I'm being accused of being the CIA by Peter Thiel's best boys, by Tucker Carlson with his daddy. Tucker Carlson's, and you know what? Here's the other thing. Tucker Carlson said I'm a weird gay kid in the basement. Yeah, and I'm from Chicago. You're right. Well, okay, you're not right about all of that. But I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Tucker Carlson says, I have so many trust funds, I never have to work. Tucker went to a $45,000 per year private high school, then a $45,000 per year selective Ivy League school in New England. Tucker Carlson's daddy was a Reagan appointee. And then, after years of bragging about being an elite, bragging about being so out of touch and so rich, now he's going to be the spokesperson for all the white people. Now he's going to roll up his sleeves. I just like to hunt and fish in my log cabin. I care about Klarna and credit card debt. Who's pandering here exactly? Because that wasn't you. You were born to the Swanson family fortune and your daddy who ran the CIA. You know, my dad didn't even graduate college. My dad worked for the tollway. His dad died of a drug overdose in the 70s. My mother's father was a garbage man in Chicago, and he committed suicide. He was a veteran of World War II. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. Chicago is America. That's an American story. I didn't go to Yale Law School and suck Peter Thiel's dick and then get a sinecure at a venture capital firm advising Rebecca Mercer and writing hillbilly elegy and talking about it at the Aspen Institute. That's your biographical credibility?
Let's rewind. The origin of the feud, 2019. In 2019, both men drew from the same edgy right-wing audience. A super chat asked Nick if he'd stream with Owen. Nick replied, I don't agree with everything he says, but yeah, maybe. That single maybe lit the fuse. Owen ranted for days,
Lamping sent $10. Absolutely, absolutely. You should interview or chat with your son Kanye's mutual pal, the big bear Owen Benjamin. Don't be scared.
Why would I do that? Every time I talk about this guy, he has a crash out. Literally 6 years ago, somebody said, you should do a stream with Owen. I said, yeah, maybe. And the guy flipped out and talked about me for years. Then someone said, then we got along. Then we made up over Yay 24. And then someone literally super chatted me the same thing. You should do a stream with him. And I said, oh, I don't know if I say no this time, is he going to crash out and attack everybody again? I never said I was going to kill your family. And then he crashed out on me again. Now we're in another crash out cycle. That's just like unhinged. That's just too much for me. So I'm good. He wants to do his thing. Good for him. But the guy's totally insane, you know. And it's sort of funny, but it's also, I don't really want to be around that.
The stalled century. This is only 24 seconds, and I'll analyze why this is such a problem for me.
Morgan says, were you open to a chat with Owen Benjamin on a live stream? You have identical thoughts, and the Bears love you. I don't know if we have identical thoughts. There's your NGE reference, I guess, right? Morgan says, were you open to a chat with Owen Benjamin on a live stream? You have identical thoughts, and the Bears love you. I don't know if we have identical thoughts. I would contest that. But yeah, we already had a stream. Maybe we'll do another one if Vince sets it up, but sure, we'll see.
Okay, so the reason I have an issue with this is because a bear went on there to say the Bears love you. The way he could have handled that with respect, Nick, who still lives with his mommy, is you say, oh, thank you very much. Maybe we'll do a stream, maybe not. I don't know. Then just move on. He goes, I mean, what he's doing here, and a lot of us know exactly what this is because we face this a lot in our life. A lot of people that have faced uncomfortable truths and have been ostracized by people, their friends, their family, their business associates. When you bring up something uncomfortable that the narrative does not like, people always say, oh, we don't agree on it. You know, I don't agree on everything. It's a defense mess. It's a giant red flag.
Owen finally admits what everyone already suspected. He already had problems with Nick. He was just waiting for a reason to attack him. The supposed triggers, Nick's Catholicism, his refusal to say the N-word, and the simple fact that he's still monetized on YouTube, while Owen isn't.
And that person was being very nice, was showing Fuentes love. This is what started the whole thing. And bear in mind, I had already stopped really endorsing him because he said only Catholics, everyone who's not Catholic goes to hell. He says N-word. He censors that, but yet he calls women's breasts milkers. Bear in mind, this is this is someone who lives in the basement with his mommy.
He says a lot of explicit language, which doesn't fly on the D-Live terms of service. So I can't actually play this. But basically he says, well, I like Nick Fuentes. I think he's great. However, he said, and he sort of like imitated me. He's like, oh, well, somebody sent in a super chat and Nick said, well, I don't agree with him on everything. And he basically accused me of like distancing myself from him. And this was like a subversive thing. I was like distancing myself from Owen Benjamin by saying that. I was like being dismissive or disrespectful or something. And then he sort of sneaked in this other little jab. He said, oh, Nick Fuentes, the guy that won't say the actual N-word because it'll mess with the super chats. He won't say the actual word. He'll just say the N-word instead because it'll mess with the super chats. So he sort of implies that I'm like, because I won't say the N-word on stream, I'm like selling out for money or something while he's doing this like drive-by sort of thing. And then he says, no, but I like him. I think he's great.
Owen lost his monetization after violating the platform's terms of service and launching a stream attacking the CEO of YouTube herself. Now, rather than self-reflect, he's lashing out at anyone still succeeding where he failed.
All right, and I want to give a shout out to a lot of the people that have had my back, like Tiffany Fitzhenry. Give her some love on Twitter if you're still on Twitter. She said, what's so dangerous about Owen Benjamin isn't what he's saying, it's that no one is controlling him. He has audience and influence and no one owns him. He's proving writers, filmmakers, comedians, and musicians don't need Hollywood anymore, that it was always Hollywood that needed us. That's what is the big threat of me. It's not that I'm always right, because I'm not. It's not because, I'm still just a comedian. I'm just a dude. But my freedom is the threat. The fact that I can just make fun of how ugly the head of Google's wife is, and how, you know, Susan Wojcicki is a butt plug and all that. No one can tell me to stop because I haven't taken their tickets and their money. And as they took away all that yesterday, we're going to obviously sue them, and everyone's on board. We have a bunch of lawyers willing to work pro bono. Email me, whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com if you're one of these contributors. I won't see any of that for at least a year. And that's fine. I don't care at all. I see it as like, I couldn't believe they made these mistakes. What's up, everybody? Just a real quick update into the dumpster fire that is YouTube's business sense. They are refunding all of the super chats and membership subscription stuff from February and March. So now, not only is my channel demonetized, they're not even going to pay me for all of those super chats that you guys gave me, which is just mind-blowing. So it's all good. That would offend me if I were you. You know, like all of those super chats, like all of those live streams we did, all of it is being refunded. And don't get me wrong, that's cool. It's like, you guys get money. Good for you. But you should take it as an insult that you can't support what you like, that you're being treated like a baby. So if you want to support me, go to hugepianist.com and become a monthly subscriber, or paypal.me/feedthebear. Literally, that's insane. That's like it's like as if you donate to a political candidate and then just a bunch of psychopaths won't allow you, and they send it back and they're like, no, you made the wrong choice, baby. It just never ends with these people. I was like, oh, wow, at least I still got that. And no, they took all that. That's all right. Life moves on, but support what you like or it goes away. That's all I'm saying. All right, peace. Hi, everybody. I just got word from a YouTube insider that my channel will be deleted December 10th. It's been a great run. 100 million hits. You know, not exactly a lightweight. We did some stuff. We had a great run, but, you know, it's not the end, and the best is yet to come. Please become a subscriber at unauthorized.tv. Hi, everybody. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I deeply appreciate, why do people say bottom of my heart? Just from my heart. I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. YouTube, as you may or may not know, has taken down both my channels, and their reason was they didn't have a reason, which is fine. We will fight them. But the good news is we're still crushing. And I've just made my wife laugh. She was like, I'm sorry I have to go through this, baby. I was like, I take it as a badge of honor. It's like getting kicked out of a gay bar.
You're 20. You live with your mom. I'm 39 with 2 little kids, not living with my mom. If anyone needs super chats, it's this guy, because I'm actually raising an American family. Nick Fuentes is sitting in his mom's basement. What does he need money for? It'd be as if your mommy breastfed you 8 times in one day, and then when you went poopy in your pants, she didn't even get mad at you. Mommy's boy, mommy's big boy with his lesbian shoulder pads. I actually had, after this stream, I'm taking my children to the zoo. I bet daddy never did that for old Nick here. Well, why do you think you're able to subsist off live stream even though you've been demonetized, Owen? Where did those 257,000? 20 years of work. I've been touring the country since the first time I ever got paid for comedy, I was 19. I was younger than you, Nick. If you think I got all my subscribers from Dennis Prager, you're retarded.
Section 3, The Hollywood Ghost, From Liberal to Loser. Owen Benjamin's political evolution reads less like a journey and more like a desperate rebrand. He went from an East Coast hippie liberal.
What happened to liberals? Where'd they go? I was always a proud liberal because liberals were the party of the misfits, the thinkers, the skeptics, the people who made me laugh, the people who had weed. Scared of a cartoon green frog tweeted out by an Asian 12-year-old on Adderall as they huddle close together in their Yale dorms, wondering why life can be so hard. The left doesn't like questions anymore. Simple questions like, how can Caitlyn Jenner be Woman of the Year when she hasn't been a woman for an entire year? They lost to Donald Trump, right? An orange-skinned buffoon who tweets more often and more radically than a stripper going through a breakup who just did a bunch of coke. Donald Trump is the guy that blatantly didn't read the book in school, who would just say, it's a great tale, the greatest tale, two cities, excellent cities, the tale of two cities, tremendous cities. Stop making him out to be this evil genius. People voted for Trump, not because they liked him, but because he's a weapon to piss you off. They'd rather have a buffoon as a president than watch Lena Dunham's smug smile as she lectures someone else how to live their life from the top of her palatial palace. I was proud of being liberal when it meant personal freedom, because I'm into this crazy right-wing conspiracy theory called the Dictionary, belonging to a party that ensures personal freedom. Liberals, I'm begging you to come home. Just come home. Come back home, right? Many of you are too far gone to even listen to me right now, because I've said some trigger words, and you think I'm totally Hitler. If I am your enemy, a professional artist with a Hispanic wife, and two college professor parents. I had a trans piano teacher my whole life as a kid. Well, Caitlyn Jenner was still on Wheaties boxes. If I'm your enemy, then I would hate to meet your friends.
To a Hollywood comedian playing the harmless big dumb white guy, to a self-proclaimed victim of cancel culture, and finally to an alt-right homesteader waving the banner of faith and freedom. But through every phase, his intentions were the same: survival through performance. Hollywood saw his ceiling early, the box office flops, the half-baked piano bits, the one-note charm that never quite stuck. So when the comedy clubs stopped calling, the outrage economy became his new stage. He knew there was money and attention waiting in the fringes of the right-wing internet.
Let's take a look. I'll read this letter.
And he took it. Even Dennis Prager, the establishment conservative with Zionist ties, hired Owen for short-lived projects like The Liberals versus the Left, an ironic title for a man who could barely define either.
You need to decide which side you're on. The liberals and conservative side or the left's. Your future depends on it. I'm Owen Benjamin for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To help keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
It's like this is how these people think. They think in terms of money and shame and fancy pants. I swear to God. And Nick is just as guilty as any of them. And this is fun for me. This isn't, oh, he's spiraling. Watch how someone reveals who they really are. And he says faggot on here, doesn't he? But he doesn't on YouTube because he has different rules for different platforms because he and it's not moral. It's not about morality. It's not because he's clean. It's because he follows the satanic terms and conditions given to him. Where those 257,000 subs come from? Oh, hey, Nick, I gave you thousands of subs. You're in the 30,000 range. Many of those were from me directly. Yet you notice a spike in your live views? It's because I've been recommending you. You little ingrate. You got famous off IDW. No, I didn't. I rejected them while I was still on their website. I'd done Leno 7 times by the time I even fucking understood what YouTube was. Little alt-light would you say it on YouTube? No, because you play different rules because it's Fuentes first. It's not America first. One of the main reasons I liked him was because he called it America First, which originally came from that pilot dude, Lindbergh. And then Trump adopted it, and now he adopted it. But it's really Fuentes first, isn't it, Nick? Because you're not America first, because you're trying to cuck to CRTV, you're trying to cuck for money. You are, and I know you are. I've heard shit about you, little buddy. You're collecting money off the small percentage of residual supporters. Oh, that's weird. That's weird, Nick. Okay. That makes no sense. Of residual supporters who hung around and some coalition of wingnats and EMJ people. By the way, this is the youngest baby boomer who's ever lived. By the way, I had huge reservations about associating with this goof ever since he came on the scene. He was always kind to me, so I reciprocated. That means you don't believe in anything. By the way, I think you're pathetic for reciprocating when you didn't believe it. That's one reason why I took your little shot at one of my people so offensively. Because you acted like you liked us. It was just for clicks? It was just because you thought you could get power? It's so gross, dude. You're under your mommy's wing. This all started because I said I didn't agree with him on everything in a stream a few days ago, and he interpreted that you're such a woman, dude. He said that he doesn't agree with me on a lot. When a human being says, oh, we don't agree on everything, oh, I can't agree, that's a red flag. It's a tell. You know, his first thing about like, oh, we don't agree on much, and oh, I'm okay. Oh, we don't agree on it. You know, I don't agree on everything. It's a defense mess. It's a giant red flag.
I just have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to people saying, I mean, I don't agree with Owen Benjamin.
Owen Benjamin just spent a half hour trashing me on Instagram Live because I said I don't agree with him on everything on my show, laughing my ass off.
Owen and Nick went back and forth for about a day, mostly with Nick laughing at how ridiculous Owen had become.
Hey, Fuentes, here's another video for you because I hear you're on D-Live right now, and I don't have a D-Live account because I'm not a homosexual.
Dude, that's funny, bro. You only call yourself Big Bear, right? I'm the homosexual. Big Bear. Okay, Big Bear. Okay, Big Bear. That's really rich. Anyway, that's a good one. That's what you can expect from a paid comedian. Dane Cook was a paid comedian. I'm not on D-Live because I'm not a homosexual.
And if you want to come at a guy that actually isn't scared of losing his super chats because he's got a P.O. box, bring it. Want to jump on Telegram and talk shit about me? I know what you were saying, buddy. Anytime you want, let's live stream. Ask your mama if you can break away from her milkers for a bit. Don't you live with your mommy? Enjoy your super chats. Enjoy those nickels in the cornfield. You'll be letting Glenn Beck fuck your ass in no time.
Try and get it out. I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
But then Owen did what Owen always does. He started psychoanalyzing his opponent.
He's got to start with roommates like I did. I lived in one room with 3 other dudes because I didn't want to live at home with my mommy.
What Owen never mentions is who he was sharing those West Hollywood rooms with. The dudes, as he calls them, were gay. And not just anywhere. This was West Hollywood, arguably the gayest city in the world, next to Tel Aviv, allegedly. One of them was Nick Fuentes, the famously flamboyant comic who introduced Owen to Adam Sandler and helped him land his early Hollywood gigs.
In LA, we met Nick Fuentes, who ended up being one of our best friends and teaching me more about comedy than anyone.
This is a cop. The wig store was robbed on the street.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
I opened for him for 5 years, and I've gotten drunk with him over 1,000 times.
I'm too tall. You know?
When we were broke, he would literally get us clothes. He's a fucking angel who may also spit on you and call you Gary for no reason.
Owen's entire Hollywood origin story runs straight through the heart of WeHo nightlife, and a guy best known for playing the eternal man-child. So when Owen rants about degenerate Hollywood or the people who led him astray, he's really just describing his own roommate history.
Well, yeah, but I'm too tall, you know?
I don't follow.
Like, I can't even go outside. I get attacked by birds. You know, like, birds will just swoop down in my head. They just see this tall thing and they freak out.
Well, he's like a tree, so they don't. He doesn't go outside.
Okay, so it's just the two of you here then, right?
Because in LA, a lot of my friends are gay, so I would write a lot of jokes around, like, that would make them laugh, you know, and then and I remember I'd go to certain areas and there'd be these like housewife type suburban brain dead idiots, and I would do a similar joke and they would turn so hard and I'm like, bro, I wrote that like at a gay bar, I think. You know, and one of the bits, the bit was I was like, yeah, AIDS affected a lot of communities, you know, but no one got hit harder than the vampires. And I used to do it, and it's hilarious because it's not anti-gay remotely. It's like, wait a minute, how do you get this from blood and sex? That's all I've done for 1,000 years. You can't put a condom on a fang. I don't know who I just killed, you know? And I remember getting groans and being like, that's a brilliant joke. I hate you guys.
I moved out at 17. Right, exactly. He is saving to buy a house outright with cash. Okay. Okay.
Don't get it twisted. Nick Fuentes isn't perfect. He's made his share of questionable decisions in his 20s, strange bits about cat boys.
We're going to build a compound out in the western United States.
A kennel.
A kennel. That's right. The compound and the kennel will be next door. And we'll have cat boys everywhere. They'll be serving steaks and ice cream and warm cookies and
edgy jokes about children.
Children.
Well, you know, they're hotter.
Based. Let's go. That's why we love him. That's why we love this guy.
The kind of online provocations that come with growing up in front of a camera. But context matters. Those were moments of immaturity, not a lifestyle. Compared to Owen, it's not even close. Owen's controversies aren't punchlines. They're patterns, repetition, obsession, projection. Nick's blunders became lessons. Owen's became habits. And that's the difference between a provocateur and a cautionary tale.
Keep saying he's only 20, he's only 20. Then why is he going to DC in his big boy pants?
Suddenly, Nick wasn't a political rival anymore. He was an avatar for Owen's unresolved daddy issues. Owen claimed that Nick had somehow replaced him as the man of the house, and that his own father was crying over it. And that's when the tables turned.
I bet Nick has had gay sex with Milo. I don't think he's gay. I think he's obsessed with his mom. My psychological assessment of Nick Fuentes is his dad is weak, and so he's taking the position of male in the house. That's why he's at home at 20, making thousands and thousands of dollars on his super chats without any ambition of leaving. He wants to get into power because he wants to make mommy happy. That's my assessment of Nick Fuentes. He's like, this neighborhood has gone to shit. I mean, that's why he acts like a 60-year-old man. It's because he's being daddy in the home. Guys, I've seen it before. It's very, very obvious. Killing it today, Owen. Oh, thank you. A weak dad like yours? Yes. I also have a weak dad. My mom, thank God, did not put me in that position. I've seen that happen, and I know what that's like. My mother was strong enough to not make me play daddy. But yes, I also have a weak father. I know exactly what that looks like. It's men. It's little boys that try and play big boy. You know, you see coiffed hair. You see his little suits. You see that he's in front of a skyline in New York. He's doing his big boy role, talking about his big boy politics like daddy should. He's a bitch. He's being daddy for his mommy. And thank God for my mother for not making me a little golem like this dude. Nick likes how mommy makes his pancakes. That's true. And how mommy, tells him how he's real strong while daddy's in the basement crying.
Nick fired back, reminding Owen that maybe his wife was the one crying while he screamed into a laptop in the backyard. That's when Owen snapped.
Fuentes revealed himself when he brought up Amy. What did he say about Amy, Kyneton? What the fuck did he say about Amy? He's fucking dead. Kyneton, what did he say about Amy? Cringe is a shitty word. I'm sure Grabber invented it like they would. He's got a war. He claims she was crying while you stream. That was the worst mistake he ever made. All right. He said she cries as you drink and yell. All right. He'll never get mercy from me ever again. Well, I'm sober and my wife loves me deeply. This is intense. Oh, he's fucked. Oh, I'm gonna develop a long-term plan for this young man. Nick is gonna pretend you hit him for no reason. Exactly. Warlord mode, yeah. He spoke my wife's name. Did he say Amy? Or did he say Owen's wife? Nick Fuentes said that. Oh, and if you ever need that, you give you guys a 9 and kill everybody, Benjamin. No, don't kill him. But, he said wife. All right, that's not as bad, but there will never be a forgiveness for that.
The same man who had just crossed every possible line decided that this was the one that went too far. Classic Owen Benjamin. Victim, aggressor, philosopher, and internet meltdown, all in the same sentence.
I'm going to... No, you don't need proof. It's Kylington Bear. But, he just took it to a personal place. He has no respect for women. It's a quote from one of your movies. It's amazing. Don't engage with him, Owen. It's not worth it. Don't you think I know more than you about these matters? I think I know what I'm doing here. No more tit for Fuentes. Yeah, no, that was it. He'll never be forgiven. No death squads, guys. None of that. He brought my wife into it, though. You brought his mom in. No. Because he has no wife. I know he's jealous. I know. He just said my wife cries. We're waiting for her. No, there's nothing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just let it go. He just entered a different category in my mind. Fuentes wax off listening to Owen's stream, yeah. Fuentes fears moving out of his mom's basement, yeah. Amy's the queen of the bears, yes. He says you brought his sister and father into it. So? His sister's a lesbian, married to a woman, a black woman. His father's a creep. He brought my wife into it. He's a waste of time and energy, BB. I know.
For months, Owen went on a one-man crusade to cipher Nick's audience, the so-called Groypers. He claimed Nick had sold out, lost his edge, and gone soft. Owen positioned himself as the real dissident, the truth-teller unafraid to name names, while Nick was just another controlled opposition talking head.
So, what is the result of kissing the ring, right? Look at this. This is for this is not for Nick. Nick's gone. His brain's fucked. His reputation's fucked. His future's fucked. God has a way of taking that chain around your neck and going, BAM! This is for all the young men that believed in Nick. All the Groypers, the tears of the frogs. When you cuck, they don't respect you. Here, let's review again. Here we have Nicholas Fuentes say, he goes, how many times do I have to say it? I'm not a white nationalist. I'm not a neo-Nazi. I'm not a Holocaust denier. I'm not in favor of a white ethno-state. I am a Latino campus conservative. Welcome to the new Ben Shapiro. Kiss his dick, Groypers. Get on your knees and kiss his little dick. Because that's how fucking pathetic you are if you still follow this guy. Check this one out. Fuentes said, this is tweeted by him yesterday. I'm just recapping for all the new Groypers. And by the way, if you do not send me a written apology, not typed, you will not be allowed in this saloon. Fuentes said he acknowledges that the Holocaust was the systematic persecution and murder of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime and its collaborators. I've never denied the Holocaust, he said. He also said that he believes the Holocaust did take place and that the cookies bit was for shock value. I'm just going to sit here and let you think about it for a second.
In truth, Owen didn't hate the cookie bit. He actually thought it was funny. What bothered him wasn't the joke itself, but what came after. Nick, under public scrutiny, tried to distance himself from it, calling it satire, clarifying the context, softening the delivery. To Owen, that looked like weakness, a comedian bending to pressure instead of standing by his material, and that's where the feud deepened.
Max says, if I take 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies and Cookie Monster has 15 ovens, working 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years, how long does it take Cookie Monster to make 6 million batches of cookies? I don't know. That's a good question. Certainly, oh, no. It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there. The math doesn't quite seem to add up there. I don't think you'd result in 6 million. Maybe 200 to 300,000 cookies. And I think the Red Cookie Association said something like that, probably 200 to 300,000 cookies baked.
Owen saw himself as the last man willing to say the unsayable, while Nick was learning the reality of politics, that words have weight and audiences have limits. The irony, of course, is that both of them were right in their own way. One was trying to grow up, the other refused to. He even pulled out old clips of Jesse Lee Peterson, where Jesse calls Owen a great man and Nick a beta male.
Watch how Jesse Lee Peterson describes me and then describes Nicholas Fuentes, the poopy pants. Here we go.
Just imagine how great this country will be if men were like Owen. Brave, love what's right, speak up, good man, good husband, good father, and not afraid. Just imagine that. I haven't seen that in years. And so you still live at home with your parents?
That's correct.
Beta male.
Owen replayed it like gospel, convinced it proved his superiority. But in reality, all it proved was desperation. An aging performer begging for relevance by parasitically feeding off the very movement he used to mock.
Andrew Stone, we've got a... so this guy is a bear. He says Nick lives with his mom. And this is presumably a supporter of Owen Benjamin. Well, you support a homosexual, Jewish, failed Hollywood comedian. So, I mean, yeah, I guess me saving money and not buying into the Rent game at 21 years old. That's so weird that Owen Benjamin would say, oh, you know, building generational wealth and living in a multi-generational home in a trad fashion, that's cringe. You should move out and pay a landlord. You should pay all your money to a landlord. Okay. Yeah, but this guy probably jerks off with guys like Owen Benjamin. Do you naked wrestle by any chance with guys like your leader does?
Say what you will about Nick, but he built everything from the ground up. He started in his mum's basement, not a Hollywood green room. Whatever you think of his politics, his rise came from raw persistence, streaming, debating, and finding ways to get his voice heard on platforms like InfoWars and beyond. While Nick was grinding through late nights and live chats, Owen was still coasting on the fumes of D-list Hollywood clout, retelling stories from a career that ended before the internet even noticed. One hustled his way into relevance. The other live-streamed his way out of it.
What we're seeing with InfoWars is not really just about InfoWars. InfoWars is not just Alex Jones. It's not just Owen Schroyer and David Knight and Jake Lloyd and all the rest. You have to understand what InfoWars represents and the role that InfoWars plays in the right-wing ecosystem. And what it means for all of us, myself, all your other favorite content creators, and you, if InfoWars is not safe. InfoWars, whether you like it or not, and I know there's mixed opinions about it, on every side, actually. It's kind of interesting. On the left, some will defend, some will attack. On the establishment right, some will defend, some will attack. Even on the far right, I know a lot of people will say, well, they don't address certain topics enough, or certain people they might not bring on the show or whatever. And some are ardent defenders. I've always been a defender of InfoWars, or I have lately. They're the closest thing that any of us could come to a Fox News, an MSNBC, a CNN, and it's in the hands of a private individual who is not a part of the establishment, who is not a part of the coastal elite. This is a major network which reaches millions and millions of people every day with their programming, and it's run by a guy who we all know, Alex Jones, who lives in Texas.
Marcos in California, you're on the air with the Dark Lord, Nick Fuentes. How you doing, Alex?
Welcome, sir.
That ongoing battle with Owen Benjamin, it's pretty hilarious, but I don't think it serves the movement very well by having it divided. And Charlie Kirk, he does focus on the Russiagate scandal, and you kind of just make it about yourself, and that's it.
Okay.
Well, I got to be honest. I don't know what any of that was, but I'm not putting you down, Marcos. I'm just not in on all the DL stuff going on. I know Gorka looks like a gay whale. I know that.
Yeah, it sounds like one of Owen Benjamin's followers. Owen Benjamin, I believe, is homosexual and Jewish or something. So it sounds like some strange, crazed individual. So
I'll be honest, that's all lies. Owen Benjamin has 4 kids. His dad's mother's dad might have been Jewish, and Owen was the one trying to prove that because of how sneaky he was acting. Okay?
So, yeah, I would just dismiss that. Sounds like a bunch of mentally retarded stuff going on there.
So we're up again. Oh my gosh, what if you cross Owen Benjamin with Gorka the gay whale?
What if I cross Alex? Fuck you, Alex Jones. I didn't even know that part was in there. You can go fuck yourself. You're a gay whale. But you're not even big enough to be a whale. You're a gay little meatball. I'm pretty sure you're into trannies or some shit.
No, yeah, Owen Benjamin is he's a big guy. He's been here.
That's right, and you're a very little guy. Asshole.
Been here in studio. Nice. He's a nice fella. Come on. Maybe I should host it.
Fuck you, Alex Jones. I literally had your back when everyone was turning on you. And then because a caller wanted to talk about Israel and I wasn't a big old pussy, you banned me from the show. No hard feelings, though. Honest to God, I like talking to you about farming these days. Honestly. I mean, Owen. I'm Nick Fuentes. My mother spiked my cereal with testosterone.
Section 4, the debate trap, moon landing madness.
Host a debate between you and Owen Benjamin.
Yeah, sure. If he would show up to this one. He fled. I tried to challenge him to a debate.
It's interesting that there are no videos of you challenging me to a debate. I've challenged... Fuck. You know, I'll be honest. I never challenged him to a debate, hence the lack of videos. He's challenged me to a debate many, many times. But I blocked him on Twitter because I'm a piece of shit.
This is a blatant lie by Owen. In this clip we uncovered, Owen himself admits that Nick wanted to debate him, but instead of accepting, he deliberately made the terms so absurd that no one in their right mind would bother. He demanded topics like the moon landing, nuclear bombs aren't real, and even his personal favorite, breastfeeding until you're 20.
Nick isn't a neocon? No, he's not. He's on the good side of the curve, but when he talks about conspiracy theories, he's putting me in a category, which means he is a gatekeeper. He wants to put me in an animal farm, in a controlled pen of conspiracy theorists. Now, Nick Fuentes, challenge me to any debate on any of my theories. Would you like to talk about why nuclear bombs aren't real? Okay, I can do that all day long. Would you like to talk about why we didn't go to the moon? Let's do it. It's not a problem for me. Guys, you can't win the argument.
It wasn't a debate challenge, it was a smokescreen, a way to posture while making sure it never actually happened.
I'm not going to debate you about NASA, not because I don't really believe one way or the other. I don't believe strongly, did they land, did they not land? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'm perfectly willing to accept either hypothesis. Maybe I'll watch one of your streams for the first time in my life, and you could show me why the moon landing didn't happen. I'm really just not interested in that, right? So I'm not going to debate you. I don't know anything about the moon landing. I didn't look into that. Politics, current events, that's what I do. I talk about immigration. I could tell you about the 1044 bill that just passed the House today. I could tell you about, what do we talk about? Facebook's terms of service that just changed. I don't know, the hypothesis about flat Earth or nuclear weapons not being real. Haven't looked into those too closely.
Well, why don't you actually debate him then? I've accepted. We're debating my topic. Is it okay to breastfeed a 21-year-old versus, or not? And I know he's being breastfed, So he has to take the affirmative. So Nick, if you're serious about debating me, you will be taking the affirmative that you can breastfeed a child to 21, and I will be going against the affirmative. And it will be moderated by a raccoon. And if you think that I'm not taking you seriously, it's because I don't. I think you're a fucking scam and a pathetic little weasel, and your own people are about to eat you alive. The same people that were calling me a Jew would take me all day long over you, Fuentes. You just kissed a $6 million ring, and everyone knows you suck.
He fled. I tried to challenge him to a debate. He tried to make it about the moon or something, but...
The moon, Nick. You've been thinking about cocks. Oh, I'll be honest with you. Owen brought up some really interesting points. I was thinking about a cock.
Honestly, I think he's a pretty sick guy. You know, he's a pretty sick and disturbed individual.
I'll be honest with you. I promote pedophilia and I want to fuck cats. So I'm not exactly in a position, okay, to decide if someone's mentally ill or not. I mean, I don't even have a penis and I was made in a laboratory. There's an argument. I don't have a soul.
Section 5, the dick obsession. Owen's ongoing obsession with male genitalia has been one of the more bizarre and uncomfortable threads running through his material. What he once passed off as edgy humor now feels more like fixation, a recurring theme that even his longtime viewers have begun to question. It's a glimpse into how far his content has drifted from comedy into something far more unhinged.
Cities are nothing more than giant boner statue places. And people could say they're Christian or Muslim or Jewish or whatever. No, they're obsessed with dicks. When someone just says, oh, I'm a Christian. No, I don't, dude, you worship dicks. Their pope has a giant penis on their head. On his head. Look. He's turned his whole body into a dick, and it has a dick hole at the end. Like, there's a little dick hole. Dude, my whole body's a bigger dick than you. And everyone's like, oh no, dude, that's not a dick. That's totally not a dick. All right, that's about a fish. It's a fish hole at the end. Why is this thing in St. Peter's Square? Like, what is that doing there? Is it Jesus's dick? Oh, you're the bad man. Not me with the fucking dick on my head. Squirting. Oh, I think that's the Vatican as well. A nice squirt going on there. And then, of course, you got a dude with a big dick on his head with a penis hole. So all this penis worship, and some people go, no, I'm Christian. No, you worship dicks. When that black gentleman in Alabama said, if Antifa comes down here, I'm going to break their teeth and pack in their shit in their ass. And they go, no, I'm a Christian. I like the guy that does this. No. You worship that. Guys, that is a dick on a head. That's a dick head, guys. And that little thing at the end there, that's the penis hole. Oh, how dare you? How dare you? They have a big, giant dick in front of his house. If I put a giant phallus in front of my house, you want to know what people would think? That's a gay guy. That guy loves dicks. I'll show you some more of his other dicks. God, they're so obsessed with their own dicks. Dude, look at my boner. It's gold. And then he put Jesus' mom on a boner. Yeah, I mean, the Trinity makes sense to me if it's, but the Holy Ghost is us, right? You know, it just doesn't make sense to me the way it's presented in religious dogma. You know, it's like Father, Son, Holy Ghost. If it's the way you describe it, should be Father, it should be woman, man, God. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. Yes, nuclear family unit, right. So what does Father, Son, Holy Ghost mean? I do not have to explain it. If you just say it out loud and do not ask questions, then we will get more money. I think it's man, woman, God would be a Trinity. Like, according to Matthew, that's what Matthew's saying, and that makes total logical sense to me. To say Father, Son, Holy Ghost, it sounds Guys, I'm not going to say what I think it sounds like because I don't want to unnecessarily fire people up. Where's the woman in it? Does it feel a little gay?
When Nick is asked about Owen's blasphemous remarks about the Holy Spirit, he responds calmly, with reason and moral clarity. No outrage, no theatrics, just a measured answer that highlights the difference between conviction and chaos.
Elron says Owen Benjamin said that he doesn't believe in the Trinity because it's gay. He called it pederasty because it's only a father and son, and made some disgusting sexual remarks about the Holy Spirit that I don't want to repeat. This guy needs an exorcism. I've never heard of that, but that is disgusting, and that's blasphemy, obviously. Well, and what's so funny is last year everybody wanted to go with this grift that he was this great Catholic and he was Christian and everything, and then we've got this, right?
Well, Big Bear, everyone knows that a dad and a son make a baby if they're haunted by a ghost.
Really? You think an organization haunted by pedophilia may want to avoid the whole father-son ghost thing?
Big Bear, that offends me.
I'm more offended by child rape. All right, think of the Trinity in this manner. Christ and his Father, the God of the universe, are not one entity. They are separate, but as one, as a man is to his wife. Okay, a father to his son like a man to his wife. You sure you want to say that? You sure that father to son is like man to wife? When you're dealing with a institution haunted by the ghost of pederasty. So father to son, Big Bear, is like man to wife. No.
But Big Bear, this is hurting me.
Also, like you say, the word Trinity isn't used to describe God, Christ, and Holy Ghost. Anyway, thanks for reading. No problem. Hey, thanks for clearing it up. Father to son equals man to wife. No.
No, but Big Bear, what you don't understand is father to son is man to wife. What don't you understand, Big Bear? I mean, I'm making it very simple for you. Father to son become one, like man to wife.
Okay, you're being haunted by the ghost of pedophilia.
And it just goes to show, I mean, that is a person who's clearly deranged. That is somebody who's clearly spiraling out of control. And, the hardcore Catholicism or social conservatism is just one stop. That is just one stop on the downward spiral into, paranoid, schizophrenic delusion. There are a lot of Catholics out there, but then he's drinking turpentine, and then he's doing, the moon landings, NASA's not real, and all this kind of stuff. And then it's just totally, by the way, doesn't believe in the Jewish thing. Kind of interesting, right? This guy believes in every conspiracy theory. Moon landing's not real. NASA's not real. Space isn't real. Flat Earth is real. Drink turpentine. All this crazy stuff. But he thinks that if you hold anything against him, or if you think that there's something to being ethnically Jewish, like there's something going on there, he thinks that's racist. He thinks that's really anti-Semitic. And like Jesus, he thinks that's wrong. That's terrible. I remember, because everybody was telling me, even before he had a problem with me last year, even before everything that happened, everybody was telling me, he's based now, he's naming them. I checked out a video and he was like, Jewish people need to stop acting so subversively because then everyone's going to be anti-Semitic. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that's totally based. So even back then. And then when he had a problem with me and I said, he's calling me Jewish, he's like, actually Jewish. And then he was like, what? He was calling me Jewish. He's like, you have a problem with me for being Jewish? What? That's terrible. That's racial idolatry. You're not a real Christian. Blah, blah, blah. Here we are. So anyway, another person that nobody cares about, but it is funny.
I don't need the sympathy. In the chat, people are like, I gave you a... Keep it. I don't give a fuck. One entropy? We used to have a page this long every fucking day. Jim Bob revealed that you hate the Lord. Fuck you and the Lord.
Section 6, the death threat lie.
This is somebody who threatened to kill me, talks about my family.
You know, there's a reason there's no video of any of this. Even though Owen has logged every video he's ever made at ladle.tv, unauthorized.tv, despite all the deplatformings, it doesn't exist. But in my defense, I said it because I'm scared and gay and short and retarded.
This is yet another bald-faced lie from Owen, another attempt to rewrite the narrative for his dwindling cult, just like he does every night. But this time, we have the receipts. In his own late-night Instagram streams, Owen and Amy can be heard ranting about Nick in violent and disturbing terms, even fantasizing about harm. Owen goes further, dragging Nick's family into it, slandering his mother, father, and sister for shock value and attention. This isn't satire, it's a meltdown, broadcast live.
Amy would hold Nick down by his ears and stomp him. Oh, yeah. She'd headbutt him right in his giant forehead. Nationalist is the only way. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is not a nationalist. He's a white nationalist. He's an imperialist. And he's a creep. He's an actual anti-Semite. And the reason he's verified on Twitter. He serves his masters. Because good-hearted anti-Semites like me don't actually hate Jews. I mock them, and I don't like their behavior. That's right. Amy had beat him up in a fight, by the way. Amy, don't you think you beat up Nick Fuentes in a fight? Probably. No, I swear to God, my wife would beat this shit out of Nick Fuentes. You're 5'5", right? 5'6". Amy's headbutted me before, and I've seen stars. True story. Amy's like legit tough. So if Nick Fuentes wants to run his little mouth, my wife would beat the shit out of him. Like bad. With a bat. Sorry, I'm adding too much. But, hang on, how's the audio on that? Amy's legitimately strong. Like, it's not. Like, she's athletic. If Nick Fuentes came in, he probably, like, his forehead's, like, huge. Amy would hit Nick Fuentes right in the throat. That's the first thing you do. Dude, as long as you don't act hypocritically and search for the truth. Right. And you're tall. You're not a gamma. Like, you're a tall, big guy. You're a smart guy. But just don't, like, get, like, shitty about that. Like, don't start making, like, videos about, like, why I'm wrong about the shape of the earth. I'm just looking ahead. Amy is dripping with logos. Amy would take Nick Fuentes by the back of the head and beat his face. What?
Why do you have to be so descriptive?
Why do I have to be descriptive? Because I'm secretly picturing me do it. But no, it'd be a lot more fair if it was a woman. I would pay to see Amy beat his ass. He blew up conflict for clicks, you can tell. Yes. And now that Fuentes is getting a lot of clicks, it won't last. People are like dialed in to see what happens to like Amy's logos alone would drag him out by the ear. Yeah. Like Amy would rip his ears off. Sorry, I'll stop. Amy would rip his ears off and feed it to... Okay, I'll stop. I don't know. We got some research to do, Tanner. Who is Nick Fuentes? Oh, it doesn't matter. What did he say about Amy? I don't want to talk about it. The wrath is awesome tonight. It's not wrath, it's righteous indignation. Isn't he a child? If you think a 20-year-old man is a child, you're banned for life. My 3-year-old helped build the goat barn today. 3. He would hand me my hammer, nails, very respectful. Oh, he's only 20, so we're going to let him talk shit about a man's wife. My wife will fuck him up. Amy, come over and talk to the people. What? Come over and talk to the people. I feel sorry while I smell it. Not only that, but what? Wouldn't you beat the fuck out of Nick Fuentes?
Oh my god, yes, but come on.
Yeah, no,
Don't put me on the spot.
I'm not going to put you on the I won't put you on the spot.
Don't make me show off my guns.
I mean, Amy has guns.
I don't know why we're talking about beating the shit out of him.
Because he talks shit about us.
I realize that, but to me, that's such a weird comeback that I'm just going to beat him up.
Well, see, I'm a giant, and I'm older than him, so it sounds like I'm being a bully. But
when I say
Is
my
this
wife.
another one of Amy's, that Amy Twitter account?
Yeah. It's totally exactly.
I'm gonna go upstairs though.
Okay, here we go. I love you.
Can you get the dog in the way?
Hey, I used to have a Twitter account called Owen's Nice Hispanic Wife. And I would just be like, I can't believe that Owen just fucking said all this about black people. And then I would just like say the funny quote. And Twitter took it down. Amy should put him over her knee. Oh yeah, Amy would take his fucking, like to just take a crowbar.
What?
I'll stop. I'm venting a little bit. My Clips channel guy left me for Nick Fuentes. I get it. When you are sucking on the devil's dick and you like, you know, a guy without a family to affirm you constantly, and you want someone with a lesbian sister married to a black chick who talks nonstop about white nationalism, and a grabbler dad, full blown, and a mom that he may have weird intimate relationships with. You know, I can see it because it's like that makes Mike Maloney feel less like a pathetic fucking pussy. Amy grounding Owen, I love the relationship. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Captain Baloney. Yeah, Mike Baloney. Exactly. Leave Nick alone. He's needed for the culture wars. You're now banned for life. Don't ever fucking tell me what to do. Someone talks shit about my wife, you're going to tell me to leave him alone? I'd bury him under my fucking fence after I fed him to pigs. Literally. I'd bury the shit that came out of a pig's ass after they ate that little fuckface. And then I'd put it under my fence. How's that for culture wars? He'll try to act like you two are cool in person. I'd fucking grab his ear and I'd escort him out by his ear. Nick sucks at culture war. He sucks. He was an embarrassment to what he did. Watch my thing I did about him today. YouTube.com/Owen Benjamin official. Just type it into the fucking URL. Pretty intense. Yeah. Welcome to Rice Fields, motherfucker. What's needed for culture wars is strong males and adults. Yes, families, truth, crushing. It's not a little knicker to talk shit about a grown man's wife. He has a lesbian sister married to a fucking black. His mom has not weaned little nickels from my Hampshire. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's true, though. Nick's mom has not weaned him from her tits. Nick's dad looks like a Jewish pervert and probably used to touch little nickels when he was a little boy. So, I don't know. He wants to talk about my wife crying? Nick Fuentes will get his arse beat by Amy. Oh, yeah. She'd stab him with a screwdriver right in his neck. I want to include the Pope as a Christian. Do you understand my point or not? That's like, oh, this imam isn't a Muslim. It's like, so Christians, there needs to be a revival. Nick Fuentes is a little bitch, and Amy would take his face and beat it to a pulp. And he would be like, oh, Nicker Nation, where are you? And they'd just all, their pants around their ankles, beating off in their basements. If I saw Amy headbutt Nick Fuentes, I think my life would be complete. Dude, she'd knock him unconscious. She said that he said that she cries while I live stream because I'm such an embarrassment. Like, if she didn't find him so fucking pathetic and like nasally voiced little baby, she would have been offended, but she wasn't offended. She was just like, oh, that little booger. But if he said that to her face, she would fucking take her forehead and bam, just like right in his stupid chin. And it would split open and he would start, and his dad would just plug his ears and go away, it's all gonna end. And then his mommy would she would just run over with her tits and just shove him in his mouth. Be like, suck the life back into you. He's not in Chicago anymore. Yes, he is. He lives with his mother. Too much estrogen in the mommy milk. Yep. Fuentes will get smoked at 400 yards. Fact.
But it doesn't really matter if you actually, you know what? I said some shit about Charlie Kirk and he got shot in the neck. So that's why I'm here to make things right, because crazy people believe this crazy shit.
Section 7. The Cuckservative Divide. Owen and Nick both opposed Charlie Kirk for years, but only one of them actually took action.
Let Owen Benjamin do his thing. Let Vox Day do his thing. I think they're gay and cringe, whatever. But let them, if Owen wants to do his stream and say the earth is flat, okay, fine. And I'm going to do my thing. But let's get something straight. The attacks are coming in one direction. Who started this thing? Was it me or was it Owen, right? And who started this thing this month? Was it me or was it Owen? Did I break, talking about Groyper Wars to attack him? Or has he been obsessed with me for the past month or so? Infatuated. So I have been focused. I'm keeping my eye on the prize. I'm focused on Charlie Kirk, Turning Point, Conservative Inc. I'm focused on Charlie Kirk, which is the number one thing, right? Conservative Inc., we can all agree, is pernicious. They're pushing mass immigration. They are the bigger threat than the left, these fake conservatives. And everybody's choosing that this is the time when they're going to attack me and say, oh, Nick Fuentes is whatever, he's this, he's that. Okay, well, we're the only ones leading anything that's actually making any progress. Well, people are doing their gay live streams and whatever. So, yeah, no, that's not the time for this. Maybe when all the dust settles, like after the election, we can engage in stupid, silly, useless, pointless drama. But, for now, we've got bigger fish to fry. I think a lot of people are starting to find out Charlie Kirk is not the patriot that he says he is. And so I look at what happened last night and I think to myself, this is totally a doable operation. Charlie Kirk in the grand scheme of things is just some retarded idiot. The dog is terrified. I had to go upstairs and reassure him because I'm screaming at my stream, at my screen, calling Charlie Kirk a bitch and everything. The contrast could not be more clear. Charlie Kirk is a totally unexceptional human being. A moral struggle that's happening on the higher dimension, right? Which is Christ versus the devil. Who does Charlie Kirk serve? Is he really a Christian? Is he really Christ-like when he supports foreign wars and Israel and all this? Look at the people he's taking money from. So the guy's a fake Christian. The guy's not a patriot. He hates our country. He's un-American.
While Nick sent his Groypers straight into Turning Point USA events to ask the hard questions that shook the conservative establishment, Owen stayed on the sidelines, mocking from afar.
I think this guy looks just like that guy. For those of you just listening, it's Butthead and
Why?
Charlie Cocaine Kirk. Cocaine Kirk coming in hot!
Because at the time, Owen was too busy trying to extort Patreon in a doomed lawsuit.
Tell me, Charlie, about the dancing Israelis or the $3 billion or the open borders your masters want. Why is it that you promote sodomy while you dance in Israel and bang dudes in their butt? Dudes in their butt. Dudes in their butt.
At a Turning Point USA event, a young Groypers supporter asked Charlie Kirk about one of the most controversial moments in U.S. military history, the 1967 USS Liberty incident, when Israeli forces attacked an American Navy ship, killing and injuring U.S. sailors.
So I have a question. So from America First perspective, why do we give $3.8 billion to Israel, which is more aid than we've given to Africa, more aid than we've given to South America, and more aid than we've given to the Caribbean combined, which is home to 1 billion poor people, especially when they deliberately attacked the USS Liberty in the 1970s?
That is incorrect. Do not peddle conspiracy theories in our event. That is not acceptable. Do not say that.
He called the question a conspiracy theory, dismissed the evidence, and moved on. To the crowd of sharp, internet-literate Zoomers, that was all they needed to see. A man claiming to defend free speech was silencing it. What Kirk didn't mention was that former Secretary of State Dean Rusk, U.S. Ambassador James Akins, and several USS Liberty survivors have all publicly confirmed that it was an attack.
Okay, Dean Rusk disagrees with you, and he was the Secretary of State at the time, but that's fine.
I never myself accepted the Israeli
purported explanation. Accidents don't occur through repeated attacks by surface vessels and by aircraft. It obviously was a decision taken pretty high up on the Israeli side.
A lot of it, we believe, was covered up. That it was an intentional act by Israel to sink the ship.
George Ball, the brilliant and courageous Undersecretary of State at the time of the '67 war, wrote about the attack on the Liberty subsequently. He said, "The ultimate lesson of the Liberty attack was that it had far more effect on policy in Israel than in America. Israel's leaders concluded that nothing they might do would offend the Americans to the point of reprisal. If America's leaders did not have the courage to punish Israel for the blatant murder of American citizens, it seemed clear that their American friends would let them get away with almost anything."
By ignoring that, Kirk's credibility cratered with the young dissident right. He doubled down, aligning even closer with establishment donors and unconditional support for Israel.
Guess what? The world's a better place because of Israel. The Jews run everything. Why is there so much anti-Semitism?
Because anti-Semitism is a construct created by the New World Order agenda that is being pushed onto us.
You know, so Jews, it's kind of like global warming. And your theory is very similar to global warming. If it gets warmer, it's global warming. If it gets cooler, it's global warming. If there's anti-Semitism, it's the Jews. If there's no anti-Semitism, it's the Jews. We send money to Hamas, it's the Jews. We send money to Israel, it's the Jews. So at some point you have to tell me, like, they basically control everything, whether it hurts them or it helps them. Is that correct? Also, I think we all agreed October 7th was awful. It was terrible. And it should be talked about more, and it needs to be emphasized. We also agree this Jew hate stuff has no place in public discourse, period. End of story. And I don't like it. It's disgusting, and we need to call it out when we see it.
From that moment on to the Groypers, Charlie Kirk wasn't a thought leader, he was a cautionary tale. And when a caller later mentioned Nick Fuentes by name, Kirk dismissed him outright as a bad faith actor.
Let's go to Nathaniel. Nathaniel, thank you so much for being a member. What's on your mind?
Hi, Charlie. As a TPUSA chapter founder and president, I've seen firsthand how the tide is turning among young conservatives. I say, if you truly believe in open debate in the marketplace of ideas, will you ever be willing to debate Nick Fuentes, or will you wait until his movement forces you to adopt his talking points, as we've seen already?
You know, it's funny. I personally do not give a platform to bad faith actors. And I had a whole open about this. And by the way, a really important thing is not to lie and to not bear false testimony. It's fine, I'll answer your question. You know, you said, oh, you know, I want to have a question about Turning Point events. And you obviously lied about your question. Doesn't surprise me because you have deceit. But you know what? Honestly, I'm asked that question all the time. I don't platform trolls. And I don't platform and I don't discuss people or I don't debate with people that are not good faith actors. And
you debate malice and people who champion.
They can keep on yelling at how successful we are and our big events and well over 1,000 employees. But there's a lot of jealousy out there. We build, they complain. We succeed, we win. They blame the Jews.
That single exchange cemented the divide. The Zoomers had found their symbol of resistance, and the establishment had found its line in the sand.
What a racist question that was. So I got a quick and fun, lighthearted question for you, Charlie. So I know you gave a speech in Jerusalem earlier this year.
Yes, I did.
Were there any like awesome, fun dance parties that you guys had afterwards? Because I heard that Israelis are some of the best dancers in the world. I mean, if you guys don't believe me, just Google dancing Israelis. It's insane how good their dance moves are. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Section 8, the victim of cancel culture lie. While Nick and the Groypers were out taking action, organizing, debating, and building influence, Owen was fighting a very different kind of battle. Not for ideas, not for principle, but for profit. His version of fighting cancel culture wasn't activism, it was opportunism. First came the Patreon lawsuit, a performative crusade dressed up as justice, where Owen dragged his own supporters into a frivolous legal scheme, using them as bait to squeeze money out of the platform.
We're not in the complaining business. So, just throwing this out there, if you were ever my Patreon, why didn't they laugh at gmail.com?
Let me know your Patreon number that you were, or whatever, the email you used, and how much you were supporting for, and let me know if, you want to be a part of something really fun.
October 24th, 2019, Owen files an arbitration claim against Patreon. On November 12th, 2019, Owen's attorney tells Patreon that 83 of Owen's fans also intend to file claims. On November 15th, 2019, Owen offers to settle for $2.2 million. On December 16th, 2019, Owen modifies his offer to $3.5 million, or Patreon will face 100 claims. On January 1st, 2020, Patreon updates their terms of service to prohibit bring-in claims over another user's termination. On January 6th, 2020, 100 of Owen's fans file separate arbitration claims against Patreon. Patreon responds by suing 72 Owen fans on the grounds that they had violated terms of use by bringing their arbitration claims. Patreon alleges the arbitration claims are shams as part of an extortion attempt by Owen. Patreon cites the fact that Owen offered to settle all claims, Owens and the Bears, for millions of dollars to be paid solely to Owen. Patreon called their bluff and sued them in return. Then came the campground fiascos, one in Idaho, another in Missouri, both sold as homesteading havens for his followers, and both unraveling into bait-and-switch controversies the moment anyone asked where the money went.
Guys, I wasn't going to start looking into Bear Trail stuff, but the perfect one is for sale. And the Patreon lawsuit is so absurd, I don't want it to hold me up anymore. There is a compound, 50,000 square feet, 20, 30 separate buildings, full functional wilderness camp, North Idaho, $1.5 million, 210 or 211 acres. So I was thinking, just throwing this out there, let me know what you guys think. Do you think we could raise the money for that? If 5,000 people chipped in $400 and in return they got 2 weeks there, any 2-week vacation they want, $400 is 1 day pay for me. I mean, yes, guys, that's what I'm talking about. Think about what you can get back for that. We can set up a place where we teach our kids how to be men. 211 acres in an area secured by bears politically, in the most beautiful part of the country, 5 hours from Amy's parents, so we wouldn't even be leaving Amy's parents, with an area that we could have retreats, campfires, endless possibilities.
Each time, the story was the same. Owen playing martyr while his fans paid the price. So while Nick was out there building a movement, Owen was busy building a legal defense fund for himself. The difference couldn't be clearer. One led from conviction, the other from desperation. Nick built a movement. Owen built resentment. Section 9, the daddy issue.
But I think it's a lot of projection. His father's homosexual. I think he's a homosexual. I think he jerked.
Owen was the one trying to prove his father was a homosexual when he was betraying his mother. We found him doing some real sneaky, fruity stuff, but there's way, 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 way more evidence that I'm actually a homosexual than Owen's father. That's kind of hilarious. But Owen's so homophobic that he was trying really hard to find evidence. A lot of circumstantial shit, though, and betrayal.
The father and son loop. Owen's relationship cycle never changes. Admire, align, resent, attack. He's done it with mentors and now with younger rivals. Each feud plays like a family drama. The father who disappointed him, the son who replaced him. John Carey Smith, a longtime professor at SUNY Plattsburgh. He taught rhetoric as the art of persuasion, not just to students, but even to government agencies.
Rhetorical vision in the inaugurals, like in all of them, need credibility, believability, and legitimacy. For Reagan, legitimacy and credibility are drawn from the experience of the American people. That is, the sanctioning agents are these series of cultural myths that assert our worthiness as a people of this blessed land who only need revive our faith in ourselves and courage in facing our destiny, that we believe that together with God's help we can always do the great deed. Quote, I believe we the Americans of today, he said.
By all accounts, he was a flamboyant operatic personality, beloved by his colleagues and by the small-town arts community that surrounded him.
If you'd ask many students at New York's SUNY Oswego who their favorite professors were, John Kerr Smith's name would be heard very often. Born in Oak Park, Illinois in June of 1942, John Kerr Smith has been a professor in the Communication Studies Department at New York's College at Oswego since 1974. As a graduate of Northwestern, Smith enjoyed acting in various operas.
Opera was something I was very interested in, both as an undergraduate at Northwestern. I did the WAMU show, which was the student variety show that the students wrote, edited, performed, and so on.
In his early comedy days, Owen actually celebrated his father's eccentric feminine energy. He'd mimic his dad's operatic flair on stage, the hand gestures, the singing, the theatrical confidence, turning it all into light-hearted stand-up material.
My dad's funny. He's a public speech professor, rhetoric, sings opera, a lot of colorful bathrobes. He's a very fruity man. Like I didn't understand it when I was young, you know. He'd go into like Walmart or something and just be like, out of nowhere, just, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle. Here's the other handle. Oh my God, I'm a sugar bowl.
There was a time when Owen celebrated his dad's humor. Gentle, wordy, and full of puns. In fact, he even uploaded a wholesome little video called Jokes with My Dad, where the two of them traded one-liners and laughed together like old friends. But that version of Owen doesn't exist anymore.
Well, I had lunch the other day with a friend of mine in the chemistry department, and I said, what happens to chemistry professors when they die? And he said, they bury them.
No, that didn't come off.
No, that was a good one.
You think?
Yeah.
Without espresso, I'd get depresso. And I'd like to open up a bakery that featured gender roles.
No.
Dad, what do you think you might do if you ever retire?
Well, I thought of maybe opening up a bakery. And remember, Old World Bakery was really one of the better ones. But I think the best way to do it in Oswego these days would be to make sure you featured gender roles in your bakery.
What's the most important thing you do in the morning?
Well, I have my espresso, but you know, if I don't have my espresso, I get very depresso. Nike's expression is just do it. But if Nike gets depressed, they say, don't it.
What do you think, Oliver?
Years later, he would stream about the same man, not with affection, but with venom. He dissected those same puns he once adored, sneering at them as proof that his father was gay, weak, and embarrassing.
Okay, now that you know a little backstory about who we're dealing, bear in mind, this is the guy that took all of my mom's retirement, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and gave it to gay, scammy guys on the internet. And when confronted, he was like, why are you yelling at me? Okay, so now listen to the fucking pun, and you tell me why I don't like puns.
It was a complete inversion. Love turned to contempt, nostalgia into bitterness. Watching the two clips side by side feels less like a comedy retrospective and more like a psychological autopsy.
Even the dog's like, this gotta go. And let me tell you something, he was just hospitalized. He almost died. I thought he was gonna die. He had an appendicitis. He was like passed out. We all thought he was dead. He goes to the hospital. He's there. He doesn't have enough water. It's a horror show. My wife, Amy, was one of the only people to call him. My brother's wife did a great job with him too. But when it first happened, my wife, Amy, made sure she found the hospital, made sure we called, let him know we cared. And he was like, that means so much to me. Okay? We cared. We were actually trying to find out where he was, trying to help him any way we could. We were going to send him flowers. As soon as he got better, I don't even think he knows my wife's name. He never called and said thanks. He doesn't give a shit. She did it because she's a good person. Because it's the right thing to do. He doesn't know the names of my kids. Why would he? Why would he? It's his ride. Like, my mom is in her 80s. One second. And she's not aging mentally at all. I told her today, it's like I'm talking to a 40-year-old. She is aging physically, like she needs a lot more naps.
I think some of them could have been phrased differently.
Because I think that's why you guys are such a good combo, because he's the rhetoric guy, but you're the English professor. So he throws the charm out, but you want to tweak it and boil it down a little. So what jokes do you think needed a little tweaking?
Oh, gosh.
There's the gender roles one. You thought he phrased it bad.
Oh, I did. That it needs to, gender roles has to be set apart as the title of the store.
Dad, you hearing the notes?
Yeah.
So we've come up with the gender roles has to be the title of the bakery, not the name of the actual rolls.
Oh. Okay.
And the Nike slogan needs a flow.
Oh.
So it's just do it. Depressed brother, just don't it.
Okay.
You guys want to try again?
No, I'm tired. I couldn't be in entertainment because after a while I have to go to bed and people still want to have more takes.
Yeah, and I'm not very good at takes either.
You did a good job.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You always bring the heat. You bring the heat, Pops.
Thank you.
Because underneath those feet, there's a really nice pedicure.
Yeah.
My dad, when my mom had surgery on her bladder or something a few years ago, my dad wouldn't drive her home from the hospital because he was afraid it was going to snow. And it's been like that my whole life. I mean, just the cowardice. And I'm not mad. I promise I hold no grudges towards my dad. I'm very grateful that he had me and he provided a roof over our heads and he taught me a lot of great stuff. But I mean, the mental, the shit is just nuts.
But somewhere along the line, the affection curdled. As Owen's worldview hardened, so did his attitude toward the very traits he once admired. The man who once laughed with.
Yeah, a lot of my takedowns of liars definitely has to do with my father. Because I hate them. So that explains that. So if you might be thinking, why do you fucking go after liars so hard? Vox even asked me that in Spain. He was like, man, you really go after it. It's like, yes, I have unresolved issues with my dad who's a lying homosexual. So I just want to take down other lying homosexuals now. And since I understand that, it doesn't control me. But that's clearly a motivator.
As Owen drifted further into the hard-right echo chamber, chasing validation from his new conservative audience, his tone changed.
Yeah, if success is just allowing someone to penetrate you anally. Oh, he must be obsessed. It's him obsessed with anal sex, not Joe Rogan. No, it's Joe Rogan. I make fun of it because it's so fucking disgusting and no one else has the balls to make fun of it. Like, me mocking it has literally kept people from being homos. Because they never hear anyone mock it. All it is like, oh, it's so good. Don't judge. Tolerance. Oh. No, I'm like, that's gross.
When people are like, enough talk with that, I'm like, let me guess. You're constantly complaining about the LGBT agenda, right? Okay. Well, that doesn't work at all. You want to know what does work? Talking about depends. You know, people are, I get it. My wife's the same way. She no more depends talk. I get it. But it's like, okay, then no more complaining about the LGBT agenda. I just know how to get it done. You combat that rhetoric with disgust.
What had once been awkward comedy about family turned into full-blown resentment. He became increasingly homophobic, using his father as a symbolic punching bag to prove his new values. In one particularly cruel broadcast titled Sins of the Father, he publicly humiliated the man who had once cheered for him from the front row. On that stream, Owen accused his father of being a homosexual narcissist who had, in his words, extorted his mother's retirement money to fund relationships with other men, even claiming that his dad slept with his own godfather. What he called revelation looked more like revenge, a son rewriting his family history to fit the ideology he thought would finally make him a man.
So yeah, for people that want to keep shaming me about my dad, like Alex Jones, oh, Owen has daddy issues. Yeah, I do, Alex. I do. But I've dealt with it as best as I can. My dad was a suicidal, homosexual narcissist that stole my mother's retirement. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have some daddy issues. My dad was terrible. As bad as I can imagine. And I mean that. Everyone he touched basically got soul cancer. I clawed my fucking way out of it with the help of God, love, will, comedy, community, you people being here. Just everybody being like, oh, Owen's lost his mind. And just having one fucking bear be like, he's a good man. 1 in 100 can help me. You people were part of this. My dad fucked my godfather. My dad gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to male prostitutes. My dad threatened to kill himself my whole childhood. We survived. Not only are we surviving, we're fucking thriving. Mock the devil. My son will never have to go through that. And me and Amy have talked about that. It's like, as fucked up as this world can be, our kids won't have to be in that shit.
Section 10, Room Wax.
The fact Alex Jones keeps showing a gay whale means I might start a rivalry again. I mean, Owen might be getting pissed off.
He jerks off with guys. He said that at one point. He's like 25.
Okay, let's stop.
When Owen said he's jerked off with guys, he was doing a bit that was real about back in the day when people used to watch pornos on VHS. Dudes would literally watch pornos in the same room and secretly whack. A lot of people relate. Me, on the other hand, I literally whack off dudes because I'm a faggot. I've never done a sexually gay act with a man in my entire fucking life, swear to God. Aside from being in the same room, whacking off in the 90s, because that's what people did because they didn't have phones. And it's insane to think about, yes.
Owen's latest cope has to be seen to be believed. He now claims peak alpha male status for, let's just say, bonding with other men in ways that look a lot more experimental than dominant. In his own stories, he brags about mutual discipline sessions, complete with hugging, spanking, and performative macho rituals, all in front of an audience.
That was real audio of Nick Fuentes this week saying that I'm a homosexual Jew. Do you know why him and the Milkers call me homosexual? Because they clipped a video where me and my buddy are just blind drunk and like kind of naked, just like punching and slapping each other. Listen, there's something a little gay about it, but not really. If you're around any X game, extreme sport guy, any special forces guys, if you go to you hang out with Navy SEALs or Green Berets or any of these guys, they get naked and they punch each other. It's what they do. It's not like, I'm gonna suck your dick. It's just like really just naked dude punching and drinking. Every dude knows this, except if you live with your mommy. That's the claim of homosexuality. The beauty of me is I don't lie, so I can just tell you what anything is. I'm not a homo. I've never been a homo. Not only am I not interested in the male body, I've never even wanted to have anal sex with a woman. I find it all so disgusting. Rugby, exactly. Rugby, I played rugby for a season in college. It's like those dudes took it to another level. It's like if you got
if you were like, played badly, people would like piss on you. Every dude knows this.
The irony writes itself. The man who lectures the internet on masculinity now calls this proof of his strength. If contradiction were a sport, Owen wouldn't just be the coach, he'd be the halftime show. The infamous footage of Owen spanking a naked man didn't come from some leak, it came from him. He released it himself in a self-produced documentary titled The Comedy of Death. The film was meant to be about loss, about his friend Aaron's death, and how their circle of friends processed it. But the moments that stood out were different. In the documentary, Aaron's brother and their friends openly describe how Owen and Aaron shared a deep relationship. Even Owen admits on camera that everyone thought they were gay, and that the two of them played it up.
We had jokes that no one else would ever possibly get.
Reaching a mental level on things that most people just can't even imagine.
So one night we actually peed our pants. Like, we did it on purpose. We wanted to say that we laughed so hard we peed our pants.
Dude, you know why I'm dying right now? Is because I can tell that you're going to be good at this, dude. The only other people who are good at this is me and Owen that I've ever seen. Because I haven't done this with anything. That's why I'm pissing my pants right now, right?
You pretty much could act any way they wanted with each other.
And when the two of them got together, it was a whole different vibe between the two of them because they just fed off each other.
I mean, in the same way that they could reach a level of hilarity together, I mean, they could also hit deepness on the same level, you know?
He was there for me, like, when we were becoming adults, like, in a very awkward time in our life. We loved each other.
I need you stinky, smelly.
Me and him or especially him, because he looked so girly, was constantly called gay. And then, of course, I was always called gay because we always hung out. So we always just made a satire out of it. And that's it. It's that simple. Just satirizing what bullies make fun of you for. And then he was the best at it.
The footage, the hugging, the spanking, the homoerotic horseplay, all presented as comedy but framed like confession. What was intended as a tribute ended up exposing something far more revealing. The tension between the man Owen wants to be and the man he's always been. Section 11, the milk obsession. What's most disturbing is how Owen turns deeply personal or maternal imagery into cruel mockery. His long pattern of fixation on breastfeeding and family themes has become a running obsession in his rants, a strange mixture of projection and ridicule. Milk, purity, nourishment, corruption. To casual viewers, it's shock humor, but symbolically, it's dependence flipped into disgust.
Where's the truth in that boy? He's all about optics. And his mommy's tits. He calls his own mother's breasts milkers. And then I'm the bad guy for pointing out that that's sexually deviant and weird.
Fuentes makes my gaydar go off. Yeah. His sister is a lesbian married to a black. And he wants to talk all this fucking based, race bullshit. That's his sister. His family's definitely full of sexual abuse. His mom probably raped his own sister. Heard it here first. When you go and attack one's family, you only show how desperate you are. Yes.
Fuentes approaches Sarah. What shall we do? Send out the janitor? Handle it quietly. Feed him to the piggies. The problem with feeding Fuentes to the pigs is he'd probably assume it was his mom and then start suckling on her T-tots. His mom's probably just a pig, just like a fucking oinker. He calls his mom's boobs milkers. I bet I call them oinkers because it's just oink, oink, oink. Like his whole family's just a bunch of pigs, just fucking rolling around in shit.
When Nick joked about women's milkers, it struck a nerve with Owen, far deeper than anyone expected. His outrage wasn't about language or decency, it was about identity.
Oh, Fuentes, what did you think of her milkers? Hey, all right. Christian show, one day after Easter, really? You're asking me about milkers? I don't know. Me, when I look at a girl, you know what I care about? I care about her personality, all right? I care about her piety. I care about her personality. 2 huge milkers. You think I even noticed that? What, are you kidding me? No way. No way. No way. Forget about that. I'm thinking about, I'm much more concerned about what's your ecological footprint? What's the last book you read? I'm more interested in those kinds of questions. 2 huge milkers. 2 huge Nubian milkers. I don't even care about that stuff. You think I care? Do I look like a guy who cares about that stuff? Do I really look like a guy with a plan with that stuff? You obviously don't know me.
Look up family man, not milkman. Exactly. He calls his mom's breasts milkers, and he lives with her, and she makes him snacks. That's sexually inappropriate. Dude, it's fucked up. And then I'm seen as the bad guy for calling out abuse. His mom fucked up that family, and his cuck dad didn't do shit about it. Lesbian sister. White nationalist son. I'm a nationalist, not a white nationalist. White is an invented term by grabblers to put you in a pen.
I want him to go suck on his mommy's tits. All right. He should go back to ogling Venti's tits on camera. Yeah, he loves them milkers, huh?
Nick Fuentes is a self-centered loser who sucks his mommy's tits when he's hungry. Thank you, Kevin. And then he sucked his mommy's tits. Yeah, he's disgusting and he sucks his mommy's tits. And her tits.
You weren't sucking your mommy's milkers. He called his own mother's tits milkers. His mommy's tits.
I don't have to unify with a little bitch who shits his pants and sucks on his mommy's tits.
How's your mommy's tits? If you compare a woman's breast to a farm animal's and act like a little baby, you know, if you're this guy, let me show you again what Nick Fuentes looks like. Nick Fuentes is a young Crowder. They have similar traits, but I don't think Fuentes is a homosexual. I think he's obsessed with his mother's breasts.
Rhetorically, it's accurate. Fuentes is a cuckold. No, Fuentes' father is the cuckold. I'm accurate about the relationship in the family. Nick peaked at 7,200 viewers tonight. It doesn't matter. It sucks. It sucks. Oh, you're so jealous. You wish you were Nick Fuentes when you were 20? No. No, I don't. I don't want young people to go down that path. Nick Fuentes needs braces because he's breastfeeding too long. He's going to have buck teeth. I sent Fuentes the milkers meme. He didn't respond. No, he was probably too busy breastfeeding. Out of respect. But yet you call a lactating woman's breasts milkers over and over again. His mom makes him suck her tits.
Owen's obsession with milk didn't end with his obsession with Nick. For the past 6 years, he's branded himself as a homesteader. And his chosen ritual, the one he never stops talking about, is milking. Every day, without fail, he milks his goats once and his cows twice. Most homesteaders, of course, use pumps or machines, efficient, hygienic, modern. But not Owen. He insists on doing it all by hand, crouched behind the animals, gripping and squeezing twice a day, every day, as if trying to prove something to himself. What was supposed to be a symbol of self-reliance has become a symbol of compulsion. Because for Owen Benjamin, the milk never stops flowing. It's not just a habit, it's a fixation, a ritual act in the church of projection.
And talk about someone who's talking about genetics. He has some of the weakest DNA. He has a weak jaw, he's short, and he has a big retard forehead. And he's going to talk about my DNA because I have Jew blood in me. Because I had a fucking grabbler grandmother. Dude, my wife would fuck up Nick Fuentes in a fight. He has some of the weakest DNA I've ever seen. He looks like the type of dude who always smells like shit. That's why his mommy has to change his pants. Can I be verified as Oso? Yeah, welcome. Globalist is the literal sense of the word, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, Amy's a crusher. Now he has his little Milker Nation talking shit about my wife in mass. Nick Fuentes will never have a wife. And all they do is lie. And then when I ban them, they go, wait, you scared of the truth? No, I don't like liars. And someone was like, so you said Nick Fuentes' mother is sexually inappropriate. There's abuse in that house. So you got a lesbian sister married to a black girl, and then you have a white nationalist who hates Jews living with his mom and dad. Someone got touched in that house, my opinion. That's literally the signs. There's abuse. A white nationalist and a lesbian married to a black. Milker Nation might want to rethink their leadership.
Section 12, The Mummy's Boy Complex. Owen's relationship with his mother has always been unsettling.
My mom taught me most problems come from lack of sleep or not drinking water. She has that cold practicality of her Wisconsin lead mining roots, but she has the warmth of a children's book. She is truly awesome.
Their closeness crosses into territory that makes even his own audience uncomfortable.
Right.
And I think you wanted to stop doing this and start doing this and looking at, because you love to grow your garden, and you're like, earth comes from the soil, and then the sun is more like the male figure, because the sun rays are like jizz, where it's like it fertilizes the egg. No, this is what I'm thinking. The sun rays are jizz coming at the egg, and the egg is the earth. And so, you know, it kind of bails for 12 hours, and then more jizz, and then it bails. And then the earth grows it, and without the sun shooting down jizz and protecting the earth, because the sun has the gravity and keeps the comets flying away from it, like basically the sun is this alpha male, which is jizz and gravitational protection, and the earth grows it. So I guess that doesn't make a ton of sense, but it kind of does to me. Okay.
She's been a regular guest on his live streams for years, not as a silent observer, but as an active participant. She's admitted to watching every single one of his streams.
But don't you listen to every stream, right?
I do, but when you play, you know, Red Pale Rooster, I love his stuff. But when you play it for the third time in a row, you know, 10 minutes, I will.
I'm mildly autistic.
You are.
The same streams filled with vulgar jokes, racial slurs, and open hatred toward others. At times, their on-air banter turns uncomfortably personal. They've joked about sexual topics, even referencing Owen's anatomy, things no mother and son should ever be discussing publicly, let alone laughing about on camera.
Now I'm not very, very thin, but I was so thin. And I used to be...
You're thin, Mom. You're in great shape.
No, I used to be made
My
fun
mom
of.
can do... what's that called? What does Elena have you do? She can do a plank for 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's because of Elena.
Yeah, she's in phenomenal shape.
She wouldn't let,
and she blames her little belly on the fact that I was basically an 11-pound baby, and my brother was over 10 pounds.
Well, you were 10'9", yes.
10'9". I'll round that up to 11. And most of it was wiener. Most of it was ween and balls. Okay,
but with the height.
I was born happy. I think it's because my nurse said I had a big wiener for a baby. Don't believe me? I have it documented. True or false, I had a huge wiener when I was born. True or false? I have pictures now to prove it.
You do. You have big balls.
When I was born, I had big balls.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the same broadcasts often feature Owen berating and humiliating his father, a man who, in contrast, still speaks fondly of his marriage and his children in a documentary made about his life.
Today, if you would ask Dr. Smith his greatest accomplishment in life, he would say having children.
And being in a long-term, very happy marriage. But children, I guess it's an old German expression that roughly translates, children are always a sign of hope. And so children for me doesn't mean ego that somebody carries on your name. I don't care about that.
The dynamic is haunting. A mother who enables, a father who forgives, and a son who weaponizes both. So who is Owen's mother? The infamous Momma Jean he's referenced for years. Jean Troy Smith, a literature professor at SUNY Oswego, built her academic life around eco-feminist philosophy. She's the author of Called to Healing: Reflections on the Power of Earth Stories in Women's Lives, a book exploring the spiritual relationship between women and nature. Her worldview blends environmentalism, feminism, and storytelling, the belief that nurturing the earth and nurturing others are parts of the same moral duty. Her life's mission and activist is what? You guessed it, breastfeeding.
When breastfeeding was down to 5% and babies were getting sick. Oh, why are these babies getting sick? Oh, I don't know. Must be something wrong with the baby. Well, it was because they were being
The Jews!
this formula that was making them sick. So these 7 women just at a picnic one day got together and started. One was married to an obstetrician, and he was in a partnership with a pediatrician. So Mary White's husband was the Dr. Gregory White.
It's all about breastfeeding.
And so he said, we will back you. You figure out what you want to do. And they had to call it La Leche League instead of the Breastfeeding Club.
Because it's Spanish.
Oh, yes. Because they were not allowed to use the word breastfeeding in 1957 in public.
Right. La leche. That means the milk.
Yes.
So
it started and it went kaboom. Women just couldn't wait to get all this information.
Because no one knew what was happening. They would think that they weren't producing enough milk because their boobs were too small, they had clogged milk ducts, or the baby was biting their nipple, or all these like little problems before the internet existed.
Yes.
Before the internet existed, there's no way of getting knowledge, and knowledge is power, it truly is. But that's in a scarcity way. So when people say the patriarchy, when my mom would say the patriarchy, she was right, and it was about doctors. It was about male doctors that were not acknowledging a lot of these things, that the woman was needed for raising a child. And that was
in 57.
And that was true. That's why I get very angry at a lot of this leftist rhetoric, is because they're taking actual things that were real and making it nonsense. So women needed a place to talk about women's stuff. So a lot of these women would come to our house when I was a little kid. That's one reason why I think I have a lot of knowledge of women, is not because I'm some Casanova. It's because I would just listen to women talk about their problems and what they liked out of life and all this stuff with their boobs out, just breastfeeding. And it really just let me into the real nature of what was really happening. Well, and also, but now I sent you that what Leche League has become, and I think that's when you really started realizing that some of the points.
I had no idea.
Well, Leche League is now about trans men.
Trans men and chest.
Fake breasts for men feeding babies. It's nonsense. My mom was really heartbroken about that, because this is something that she felt really good about and worked hard at. And I remember I used to have a T-shirt that said, La Leche League, ecology with love. Because that's real ecology. It's not this nonsense. It's not the Save the Panda nonsense. It's the best way, if you want to help the earth and people, breastfeed your kid.
Owen himself has said many times that she breastfed him until he was almost 8 years old.
And my mom was a huge breastfeeding activist to the point of borderline cult behavior. I mean, I'm so glad she breastfed me for a super long time, because I'm really healthy. I have a great immune system, great skin, very close to my mom. But I think that she thinks it cures AIDS. You know, hunter-gatherers breastfed till they were like 6 or 7.
And while that detail might sound exaggerated or absurd, it explains a lot about the man who now spends hours a day yelling about masculinity, submission, and strong father figures.
Yes.
And it's the same with like
the breastfeeding. That's why I had to leave La Leche League.
And that's what's crumbling around identity politics, is the trans stuff. When it's like, so now you have to make men as good as women at women's stuff, which is insane. A man will never be as good at mothering. There may be a man that's better at mothering than a horrifying woman. You're going to get the bell curve crossover, but you're never going to get, on average, men as good at mothering as women. And just like you'll never get, on average, women that are tougher than men.
That's right.
Like, you're not going to get that.
Although the original clip of Owen describing his extended childhood nursing can't currently be located, people from his early life have repeated the same story for years. Former acquaintances and mentors have publicly mentioned that Owen spoke as a child about being weaned much later than normal. Larry, Owen's childhood piano teacher, now a Reddit gamma and staunch critic, confirmed in a comment that Owen admitted to him that he stopped breastfeeding at 7. Whether or not the exact age can be verified, What matters is how often he himself brings it up, using it to frame his upbringing, his views on motherhood, and his identity.
We didn't have a TV from my early childhood, but I had a record player and a piano. That's my teacher, Lucinda. She showed me that music doesn't exist on a page. It just is. It's everywhere. She changed my life. Lucinda became Larry in 1991. We are still bros. Larry's wicked supportive. Great dude.
Those early experiences seem to echo through everything that followed. The fixation on milk, the mother worship, and the endless need to prove maturity while still performing boyhood on camera. Section 13, the IQ lie. He would bring Momma Jean onto his live streams, where she'd tell his audience how brilliant he was, praising his intellect, validating his genius IQ.
And the reason I quote my exact IQ is because it matters. It's 1 in 10,000. And so when they find that out, it's as if you can run a 4.140 and they don't let you in the NFL. You know, 147 is 1 in 10,000. Mm-hmm. So one reason why I took offense to this, not offense, but it's like, imagine being an educator and you have a kid with a mental capacity that's off the charts. And what you do is you put them in a corner. You know, like my IQ is higher than any teacher there by far, like no question. You know, my musical ability was better than musicians. And what they do, they punished me for it.
They did in the school system, but fortunately, that's when we found a teacher for you.
Well, yeah, and at home I wasn't punished, so that's why I survived it. But a lot of, but that is nothing compared to what kids face now.
Yes.
It isn't just bragging, it's branding. He understands that in his chosen audience, intelligence equals legitimacy. So the 147 IQ claim isn't about measurement, it's about status, a way to posture above his followers, to justify every rant as genius misunderstood, but in a movement obsessed with numbers, nothing reveals insecurity faster than the need to keep repeating one.
And how things layer on top of each other, my IQ is ridiculously high. Like when I've told people in the past that, you know, in 6th grade it was 147, and then my mom confirmed it.
Oh, someone just asked. Mom confirmed. All right, what's my IQ?
147.
Yeah, confirmed. Sometimes people don't always believe me.
Oh.
Yeah, which is that's like what, like 1 in 10,000, and then they punished me for that.
Yes, as they punished you for playing the piano so well.
And that's standard. That's like I'm not that
Don't fit the mold.
I do understand why people go, "Oh, mommy's boy. Oh, he's a liar." No, it's because people were saying I was lying about it. And on a stream, I just was like, Mom, can you verify this? Because people are not. 147 is insane at that type of IQ.
It's become part of the performance. Owen Benjamin, the misunderstood prodigy.
I didn't force you two to read, and neither of you read till you were 6. And I said, oh dear, they're going to go to school. What's going to happen now? They might be put in the lowest level. But the minute you hit school, both of you started to read, and you were put into, you know, the bluebirds versus the robins, or the whatever they called you. And, but you didn't have, neither of you had a desire to learn. Of course, I'm reading, you know, I was reading to you all the time.
No, you read to me every night, like high level.
You were 13, Owen.
I know.
Because you wanted to hear the words.
I like to hear them a lot more than read them.
Than read them.
But do you remember the public school's reaction to my IQ results?
Yes. Yes. And at the time, I didn't do much with it. You know, they wished you weren't there because you didn't fit the mold. And you were supposed to fit the gifted and talented mold, but you were beyond the gifted and talented mold. And so I remember you got kicked out of the gifted and talented program because you wouldn't learn how to do an outline. You told the teacher, this isn't what gifted and talented is, because she told me about that. And so I am removing Owen because he will not do as he is told. He was told to write an outline, and he said no.
On the Owen Benjamin subreddit, a user known as the Codsworth decided to run an experiment. He took 3 of Owen's introspective tweets and fed them through an AI-based IQ analysis tool. The result? An average IQ score of 101, not 147, as Owen has repeatedly bragged on stream, citing an old childhood test administered by his mother, but 101. For a man who's built his entire online identity around being a misunderstood genius, this was devastating, and it explains a lot about his hatred for Reddit, because while YouTube and his private chat rooms give him applause, Reddit gave him data, the one thing Owen Benjamin can't argue with, mock or ban. Meanwhile, Nick Fuentes rarely mentions IQ at all, yet his debates and strategic instincts have earned him a reputation for razor-sharp intellect. In the extreme right political sphere, IQ isn't just a number, it's a currency. It's used to rank, to categorize, to rationalize entire worldviews. For many conservative and dissident circles, IQ becomes a way to explain hierarchy, to frame culture, race, and politics through a lens of supposed objectivity. That's why Owen talks about his own IQ so obsessively.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think Taleb makes a good point in that IQ isn't the end-all, be-all and everything. But by the same token, obviously, IQ is tapping into something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the worldview that IQ paints, or the disparities in IQ and the worldview that they paint, like, resonate with us, with our experiences, right? Like, if we were to say that Africans have the lowest IQ and the next lowest is Hispanics and then whites and then Asians, I think a lot of people would say, well, that makes sense based on what we see. That's more or less reflective of reality. So I don't know if I'm committed to the idea of IQ. I don't really have technical knowledge of IQ or what it measures, or I'm not a statistician, right? But I think that it's kind of missing the point to say, well, IQ isn't really a measure of whatever. They had a lower IQ. It's like, well, obviously there is a disparity in something, whatever capacity that might be, that certain people clearly are not functional in the kinds of societies that we build, and certain people are, right? I mean, I don't think anybody would deny that. So that's where it kind of comes down to me. I don't know if I'm wedded to the idea of IQ, so to speak, but I will say that people like Charles Murray, Jason Richwine, Jared Taylor, like a lot of great intellectuals, Jordan Peterson even, are big believers in it. So I think Taleb, I don't know, I'm hesitant to say this, but obviously IQ has some pretty profound ramifications if you support it. So is this a case of obfuscation on the part of somebody who doesn't really want to engage with the idea because they're afraid of the consequences, or what, right? I mean, do you kind of get where I'm going with that?
Nick Fuentes is incredibly smart. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Fuentes had a higher IQ than me. I like to point that out. It is rare. And Vox Day and potentially Nick Fuentes, I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Fuentes was smarter than I am. I like to point that out because I don't like when people, like when they identify someone as being smarter than them, they get mad at that person and they get so angry and they're like, oh, admit. When I identify people as potentially smarter than them, I listen to them and really enjoy it because they're better. They're better than me at thinking. Like, Nick Fuentes is an incredibly good thinker. His brain just goes zip, 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 zip. And as someone who has an incredibly high IQ, I almost sound like Alex, what's that guy's name? Alec Baldwin in The Departed. He's like, I have a perfect record. I respect people with a perfect record. I have a perfect record. It's like, as someone with an incredibly high IQ, I really enjoy seeing someone potentially be smarter than me.
Section 14, the energy vampire. Owen's overbearing, endlessly enabling mother, Momma Jean, didn't just tell him he was smart, she told him he was chosen. According to her, Owen wasn't just a boy with huge balls and a genius IQ. He was also a special soul, born with an overactive pineal gland, able to see auras and colors around people.
My mom listened to the pineal gland episode and she goes, it's so great you finally understand what that is. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, you have a very, very active pineal gland. And she said when I was a kid, I could see auras. I kind of remember being able to see colors around people.
If Owen doesn't have an overactive pituitary gland, then no one does. No, I do. My mom even talked about how it was like that when I was a kid. I used to be able to see auras when I was a kid. My mom was telling me all about this. I have an overactive pineal gland. I don't know. Maybe I just see like what a person is better. I don't know. Hey, baby, I'm curious with your active pineal gland. Do you notice yourself dreaming a lot? I've been having a lot of dreams lately, yes. Like my pineal gland literally is overactive. My mom was telling me about that. I used to see auras as a kid, and I had sensitivity on my forehead, and I could like literally see auras, guys. And then I closed it up with booze, porn, and sex. And now it's open. I have an overactive pineal gland. I've realized I have overactive empathy, so it can be a real problem. It can be a blessing when I'm like predicting and understanding the inner workings of someone's mind and soul, but it sucks in these situations because I can feel all the pain. I have an overactive pituitary gland, and I've realized I wouldn't call it a medical condition because it makes me incredibly insightful. And I can feel the emotions of other people, like I'm an empath. But even Amy today said, do you want me to run the errands today in case the vibes are too loud? And my mom was telling me when I was a little kid, I vaguely remember a little of this stuff, but I used to be able to see auras. I used to feel sensitive to electromagnetic energy when I was a kid. There's this great book by Dr. Becker called Cross Currents. You know, my mom, fortunately, always took what I said seriously, and so I actually got a slip, an approval to not go into the computer lab in like the 80s because it felt uncomfortable to me because I was such an empath. I'm an extreme empath, extreme. That's why when people call me sociopathic or psychotic or something or mean, I can feel people's emotions to the point where I can almost see their history. To the point where I used to, like, openly, I would tell my mom, like, I see colors around people. Like, remember when I was a kid and I was very, I could see auras and I was very susceptible to electromagnetism?
Yes, yes.
Like, I have a crazy pituitary, whatever.
Yes.
No, it's called a pineal gland.
Pineal.
And pituitary, because allegedly I'm still growing, right?
Well,
I'm almost 40, and my mom sees me, and she's like, you got wide. We just tell the people about the auras and the electromagnetism stuff.
Oh, from when
I was a child.
Well, you first mentioned them when you were in 4th grade, I remember, and you said, you know, I can see things. And so I asked you what they were, and you told me you could see white, yellow, red, and black around people, and you could tell if they were sick or not. And in fact, when I broke my elbow in '91, I used Owen as my X-ray machine.
I was the X-ray machine.
I'd say, okay, what color is it now? And I'd hold up my elbow.
Well, and the funny thing is like, we can tell these stories now. It was a long time when I didn't even want to tell anybody this.
Right.
Because they weren't ready to hear it.
No.
And now I think people are ready to hear what went on.
Well, the principal wasn't, because after we met with Dr. Becker, and he said, I will send a note to let her know that you can't be around these EMFs.
Yeah.
She claimed he was highly sensitive to electromagnetic fields and couldn't spend time in computer labs, a convenient excuse for her gifted child to skip class and remain unchallenged.
Yeah.
Because computer rooms just took you down. We walked along somewhere and you said, okay, there are EMFs here. He said, I'm being pulled down. And you said, she said, there's nothing there, Owen. And I thought, oh great, she doesn't believe any of this. Outside where you said that was a huge air conditioning unit. Air conditioning units have the EMFs that pull people down.
Yeah, I mean, remember Dr. Becker when I saw his eye?
Yes.
So the dude was a normal dude, and I was like, I see black right there, and he's like, oh, it's a fake eye.
He asked you, look at my face and tell me what you see. And you said, you have a black eye. He had done so much studying with ultra kind of microscopes that it made him blind in one eye.
And he started seeing what electromagnetism was doing to people.
Yes.
And so, you know,
Yes.
we'd meet with
Yes.
him and talk about stuff, because he'd have this grid, and I could tell where the magnet.
Ooh, what's that?
A rape. The New Age movement is so silly sounding, where it's like, oh my God, if you hum and you think about the car you want, you're going to get. I'm like, I see cancer.
One of your little friends in grade school, you just said, he has a black spot right here between his eyes. Well, of course he didn't have a black spot. What he had was that, this is close to the third eye. It was his third eye was black, and there was terrible trauma going on in his household.
Yeah.
His father was leaving his mother.
And I don't see auras anymore, but I did as a kid.
But this is what you're doing now.
Right, I know. When my aunt was dying, she said how she sees spirits from the corner of her eye. Yes. I've seen that before. I don't tell that to people very often because back in the day they would say that, I don't know, I had some sort of, what do they call it? I'm not even going to joke about it. But yeah, when you see things out of the corner of your eye, sometimes people say nasty things about what's wrong with your mind.
These affirmations weren't nurturing, they were programming. They built in him a false sense of superiority, a conviction that he possessed knowledge others couldn't comprehend. And that delusion metastasized into paranoia, the belief that he could read minds, sense evil intentions, and see through deception.
Like, I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to excuse people. I'm trying to say, like, listen, I'm really smart. Oh, you're bragging. No, I'm trying to excuse you for sucking. Do you know how many people, like, I should, theoretically I should hate. But I have to, like, know that it's cruel. It's almost like if Michael Jordan was, like, trying to teach me basketball, and he's, like, getting really angry at me. And it's like, dude, I can't do that. You know? I want this thing charged. Like, if you act like everybody is capable of anything, you're actually very cruel. Because they're not. And when they fail, they hate you for it. I've convinced my friends that boomer... Because if not, I would hate people. Like if I thought that everybody could do what I do, every comedian that didn't stand up for me, I would resent deeply. And I would think that they were cowards, and I'd be really mad at them. But the thing is they can't. They don't have it in them. And so that's why I can be nice to them and hope them the best. Because it's like, they couldn't go back to tree work. Like, they don't have the ability, they don't have the physical endurance, they don't have, like, the network, the business skills, just the sheer fearlessness to be like, have a P.O. box when you have 2 little kids. Like, I'm not being arrogant, I'm relieving people of culpability.
But what he calls discernment is just projection, a lifetime of being told he's special, manifesting as judgment and hostility toward anyone who fails to confirm it. Every feud, every meltdown, every fallout traces back to that same childhood script, the boy who thought he could see auras and ended up only seeing enemies. Section 15, the chromosome theory, the Klinefelter speculation. Eventually, Owen did what he always does when he runs out of arguments. He reached for projection. He started calling Nick a transgender.
Hello. Oh, I got something on my nose. Hi guys, I'm going to do a quick one. But I'm now convinced that Nick Fuentes is a female to male transsexual. I think I have enough evidence. I think the odds are high enough where I would bet $1,000. His hands are big though. They're feminine. Look at his shoulders and his body and his genderless features. It's his voice that really did it for me. I hate your accuracy. It's scary. I don't think he was born girl to male. Like, I'm not going to go on that limb. But there's been hormone issues with him. A lot of people have been emailing me their transvestigations on hormones. Yeah, well, here's the thing. It could just be a hormone problem or like suffering from low T, exactly. Nick Fuentes has the voice of like a female to male trans or a male to female trans, like how Miley Cyrus sounds weird. It's a similar type of thing.
To the casual listener, it sounded like another desperate insult, but for longtime viewers, it was textbook Owen. He claimed that people on his own subreddit had been calling him transgender for years.
If someone gives you boundaries, go with them. Because if not, you're going to descend into the Reddit hell. And I'm not saying to go there because it's really dark. You can if you want. But it's like, Owen and Amy are both trans. Other children are trans. They're liars. And he's really working. They say I work for the Jesuits. They say I'm a Nazi Jesuit Jew who works for the CIA to subvert. Any evidence?
In reality, they weren't calling him trans at all. They were speculating that he might have a chromosomal disorder known as Klinefelters syndrome, a condition in which men are born with an extra X chromosome. It can cause infertility, hormonal imbalance, and sometimes a more androgynous appearance. The very traits Owen's critics pointed out long before he ever brought up the word trans. But instead of addressing the speculation, he flipped it, accused others of what he feared in himself.
It's low T. I would guess low T, but the fact that it has a lesbian twin is odd. Milkers are good development, but have the reverse effect after twin. I really think it's from milk. I really do. I think that he's consumed too much milk. Sometimes I start things as a joke, and they end up being true. It's weird. You just said you could prove it. I can prove with the transvestigation stuff. Like, if you take images of his narrow shoulders, you know, his feminine features, his voice, his masculine energy has been milked from birth. Yeah, it's just, there's something going on with him. I think he's consumed too much milk, and it's increased estrogen, like, tremendously. His mom has, so unpasteurized goat milk is good for you, though. I stand by it. My boys are crushing.
Fuentes is a me person. Well, I think he's a female to male trans. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like his forehead and his like frame, you know, and just his relationship with his mom and the fact that he doesn't have a girlfriend or never has had a girlfriend.
Klinefelter syndrome, also known as 47XXY, is a chromosome anomaly where a male has an extra X chromosome. The symptoms are as stated: physical appearance, taller than average height, longer legs, shorter body, narrower shoulders, broader hips, and extra belly fat, compared with other children and adults assigned male at birth. Extra breast tissue, called gynecomastia. Low energy levels, sexual development, small firm testicles, and a small penis. Neurological Klinefelter syndrome symptoms: depression, anxiety, social, emotional, or behavioral issues, impulsive behaviors. That's the Owen Benjamin pattern. Ridicule, deny, project, repeat. The joke always ends where the mirror begins.
If people think that they can't hurt my feelings because I have such a massive cock, they're always like, oh, you can just tell Owen he's a pariah, he's a racist and shit. I mean, he doesn't feel anything. Look at that hammer that just drags behind him. But the truth is, I feel even more because the penis is one of the most sensitive parts of the human body. And so I'm mostly sensitive because I'm 90% penis, my body. If I ever got an erection, I would die immediately from loss of blood to my brain. That's why I've never had an erection.
Good grief, BB. 8.5. I want to know what they want. They want me to show my dick. That's what all these fucking Reddit trolls want. They're dying to have me go, oh yeah, you think I'm trans? Look at this. And now they're like, oh, you won't do it. You won't show us because it's a clit.
It's another sign of how far he's drifted from humor into something much more personal and much more unsettling. Owen often brings his family into his live streams, revealing dynamics that feel tense and unsettling. His tone toward his parents alternates between mockery and pity, suggesting deeper issues that spill out on camera. Section 16, the Degenerate Hippie. He confirmed that his parents were hippies, that they spent much of their early family life naked, close to nature, as he put it.
No, I've been very low-key about exposed genitalia lately. How do you, well, my parents are hippies, you know, it's like I was raised with no clothes. I never saw it as weird. So I always had to blend in Patrick Bateman style and be like, yeah, dick pics are bad.
You're the only guy that's going, yeah, that is horrible, the way they're
My mom
depicting
made
that.
my clothes, like, I wouldn't wear clothes, you know, me and my brother would be running around naked like animals. There were like college professors that believed in no structure. So yeah, a dick pic for me did not seem that crazy.
Then, in the same breath, he spoke about their small New York town being riddled with pedophile priests and how his parents turned away instead of confronting it.
That's why my mother and I can be raised in a town with a pedophile Monsignor and 7 pedophile priests. And now there's only one church left because they raped all the kids. And no one said anything as they went and pretended and virtue signaled. And so it sent me and her on a truth path. And her life has benefited overall for it. My life's benefited overall for it. But it allows us to have apertures like we're Christian pagans. Because we were part of a culture that was hiding child rape. And it caused a lot of trauma and a lot of problems. But overall, it's good. Because you name the man. You don't say Catholicism is pedophilia. E. Michael Jones does not promote pedophilia.
Owen Benjamin has spent years branding himself as a moral crusader, a Christian traditionalist, a defender of faith and family. But peel back the scripture quotes and sermon-style live streams, and the picture changes. His public image as a God-fearing homesteader doesn't match the way he speaks about himself or the content he puts out.
Listen to that again, guys. Like, really, like, listen to it as if you don't worship black dick. Like, the first time I heard that, like, a woman sent me that. Just like, I get why Copper Bear is like, oh, legend, because women don't really care. Like, I've had relationships with women where I could be like, I'm going to go fuck another woman. And she'd be like, that makes me sad, but you go crush. These men let you fuck their wives and their wives want to fuck you.
The level Amy and I are at now is unreal. Never thought it was possible. We still make out at bars when we can get out. We can argue, but not freak out. And at any moment I can be with her, I find a gift. Her jealousy is so gone, it's almost comedic. After one of my many Twitter spirals, she genuinely said, "When you were into other women, do you think it made you focus less on politics? Oh, when you like puzzles. It used to be getting women to show you their vagina, and now it's figuring out all human nature. Maybe every now and then you should hook up with a chick just to stop reading tweets about the election." I couldn't stop laughing. She was dead serious. I told her I had no interest, but I really appreciated the idea. Instead, I got super into figuring out how to cook over fire. The best skills come from not wasting all of your life energy on sex with strangers. I also am getting really bueno at Espanol. Hillary Clinton will win the presidency. Vegas odds are 6-1. But that isn't when the fight is over.
Yeah, I understand why women like it. I get it. There's been because women gravitate towards power. They don't have the same level of logos as men. Women just go strength, crushing. That's why it's your responsibility to guide your women properly. Because without me, I could, like, if Amy never knew me, I could see her, like, viewing that and being like, that guy's crushing.
I've had addiction in my relationship with my wife. When we were first together, I was addicted to the shame of hearing about her other sex partners she had had. I know that sounds weird, but the podcasts are all about honesty. I tried hard sometimes to get her to admit that I wasn't good enough. Admit it. I would want her to tell me that. Fortunately for Amy and I, we found our way out. And looking back, that demon, it now just looks like a silly mouse, barely squeaks.
I'm against sexual fetishizing, like people being like, oh, if you don't bang all the time, it means you're in a dead marriage. That's all terrible.
Raw, uncomfortable, and very public. The man who rails against degeneracy fills his own broadcast with obscenity, crude jokes, and self-contradiction. This isn't moral conviction, it's marketing. Raised by a pair of academic free spirits, Owen learned early how to perform sincerity, how to package rebellion as revelation. Now he wraps that same performance in scripture and sells it back to his audience as virtue. That's the essence of the grift, not belief, but branding. A man preaching purity while cashing in on outrage. And after all the donations, the land, and the live streams, the mask is starting to crack. And this is where Owen's rhetoric takes an even darker turn. For years, he's spoken publicly about the age of consent, not with moral clarity, but with moral confusion. In past live streams, he's claimed that it's somehow more moral for an adult man to marry an 8-year-old than for two consenting adults to have casual sex.
Does the Bible say 18 shall be the age of consent? No! Not even close. Marriage. Guys, marriage is the age of consent. Marriage. Marrying a 12-year-old in an agrarian society is infinitely more moral than fucking a random 18-year-old and never talking to her again.
He's even said that children who were victims of molestation consented on some level, even though they had no capacity to consent.
I would say the majority of raped, molested, abused, sexually abused kids consented on some level. Like they were trusting. It's not like they were beaten and physically raped. It's like, and that's what really messes up people's heads because they think it's their fault. You know, they were trusting. They went along with it. They agreed to it, right? That's, if he was actually molested as a kid, I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe it's possible, but I am seriously doubting it because everyone, not everyone, most people that were taken advantage of by kids, as kids, consented. Even though they had no ability to consent, but they thought they were making someone happy. They thought that they thought that if they didn't go along with it, they were bad or wrong. Like that's literally what pedophilia is.
To his audience, many of whom once looked to him for spiritual guidance, these statements were shocking.
I'm just reporting what I see. I've never even been to a mosque. FYI, I've never been to a mosque because I know one of the big narratives is, oh, Owen's shilling for big Islam. One of my best friends is a Caucasian Muslim. And some of his insights and some of his wisdom that he's given to me over the years has been invaluable to the point of miraculous for me. And so I would be lying if I didn't say that a lot of my really, really beautiful insights have been from the mouth of a Muslim guy. And this is coming from someone who pretty much lived a Sheryl Crow song for like 20 years. If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. That's how I viewed sex for like a huge amount of my life. And I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. A 20-year-old woman just fucking a strange guy in a hotel room is not the consensual miracle that you think it is. Okay? And women are being like really, really dehumanized by this shit. Whether or not she's 25, 35, or 15 isn't as big of a jump as you think it is. When a woman turns 18, a miracle doesn't, like she doesn't just get washed over by this wave of consent. Where now when she gets turned out by two fellas in a hotel room, it's like much more enjoyable for her and she isn't being raped. Okay? Women don't want to be used anymore.
And yet Owen continued to hurl the word pedophile at anyone who crossed him online, weaponizing one of the ugliest accusations imaginable while minimizing the reality of real abuse. It left his viewers with a chilling realization. The man who calls everyone else a predator can't seem to stop describing the mindset of one. The projection isn't subtle, it's pathological. One of the strangest moments in Owen's live streams wasn't a joke or a rant, it was a reading. A fan sent a letter confessing to watching child sexual material, and Owen read it aloud on camera, verbatim, unfiltered, and without the kind of moral clarity you'd expect.
As I write this, I'm trying to retain any strand of hope I can grasp. To keep this brief, I was exposed to porn when I was 10, when I was 5, and again when I was 10. I was sexually something by a family member. Same person beat me until I was about 13. I never had the courage to tell my parents. I've moved past it and have forgiven the person. I'm not using this as an excuse to justify my evil acts. I also don't carry a victim conscience about it. I am just a man that wants to get better and to have redemption for what I've done wrong. Porn usage and viewership for me has gotten to a point that is purely evil.
That moment was not theater. It was something else, unsettling, irresponsible, and deeply corrosive. Years ago, he'd railed that such people deserved the harshest punishments.
I've seen a lot of bad things that I'm ashamed of. I've never done things that I've seen, nor would I allow myself to. I would take my own life before letting that happen. In actual life, I never have the desires to do things I've seen. Yeah, this is super dark, but hang on. I want to overcome this, but don't know how to start. 17 years of porn use has led me here, and I'm to blame for it. I'm afraid of not being able to quit because that would mean I could never have kids of my own. Oh, this is dark, man.
Tonight, he sat and rationalized, debated, and treated the confession like content. For viewers, the shift was chilling, not just because of what was being described, but for what it suggests about the boundaries Owen refuses to recognize on his platform.
I'm sure that by saying that, you understand the nature of my evil. Yeah, I get it. Maybe I don't deserve the privilege of children. I want to believe I'm not a damn man. I've never done this evil, but seeing it is basically the same. Yeah, that's really bad, dude. It's honest. At least you're being honest. But yeah, I don't think you should probably not have kids. And I'm not judging you, but you can't just like what you watch is not a victimless crime. There's victims there, and you're part of that.
It also raises uncomfortable questions. How close were some of these viewers? Were they simply lurkers, or were there private donations, DMs, or relationships behind the scenes? We can't answer that from a clip alone, but watching someone normalize or gamify a confession of harm is enough to make any sane viewer uneasy.
If you can't stop it on your own, you should be in prison. But your honesty is refreshing, and I'm not judging you as a man. And feel free to listen to these streams, and hopefully it helps you and all that stuff. But that's, you know, and don't get me wrong, they're in a much more moral world, watching any porn should put you in prison.
If nothing else, it should force a reckoning. Platforms and hosts carry responsibility. Treating abuse as spectacle isn't critique, it's complicity. And with actions like these, the chaos, the contradictions, the moral decay played out for clicks, it's no wonder his following has dwindled to a fraction of what it once was. The audience didn't vanish by accident. They left when the mask did. Section 16, the collapse from cult to caricature. Nick's notoriety kept climbing while Owen's audience shrank. Today, Owen live streams to a dwindling crowd, angrier, louder, and more isolated than ever.
I don't know. And then now people will be like, man, that meltdown was really fucked up. You know, I might just be like, maybe my time's passed. Maybe it is. Like, that's fine. I did great during COVID. I mean, everything people are referencing is so old now. It's crazy. It's like over the pants hand job in a Walgreens. I was like, I haven't done that on stage in 7 years. Like, ever since I've been off YouTube, it doesn't seem like people really are like, this is what I think is going on. And I don't give a fuck if this worries people, guys. Like, people, oh, you know, that was so hard to watch. Don't fuck off. You know, it's just this fair weather bullshit. It's like, what was that? Yeah. Is it because I would get a lot of views that's what made it fun? And now that I don't get a lot of views, it's like people don't see it as good? Because it's better now. Like, the bits are better, the streams are better. I'm a fucking weird dude, man. I don't care about fame. Like, I really don't care about fame or like getting rich and shit. I think a lot of fucking people do. It's just back in the day, there were diehards. Like, if I got kicked off something, if I went to a new page, there'd be 5,000 people there immediately. Like, and that wasn't bots. Those were like the bears. What would it be now? 200? Why? Why? There hasn't been like a major problem in years. Like, we've accomplished everything we were saying we would. That last fest, according to people, was like the best one. Why? What the fuck happened, man? And I don't lie to myself. I don't do that stupid shit of like, oh, it's just, secretly it's just, the summer.
Controversy filled the vacuum. 2 land ventures critics label scams, a Patreon lawsuit many called frivolous, and now civil litigation from a former documentarian, the same filmmaker who once worked with Nick. Whether those cases stand or fall, the pattern is clear. Fewer allies, more courtrooms, smaller audiences, bigger claims.
I don't know. I think it's me. I think I have to just face that it's just my time is past. Not like as in my life, but just like as a comedian or as like a commentator. Because I mean, there's always an excuse. It's always like, oh, it's summer. It's this. No, it's not. There's just like no engagement. It's just like the Groypers are fucking right. You know how crazy that is? Dinner time here on the East Coast. This is what I mean. Like, I don't have people. Like, I don't have people that understand me. Stirring Bear, like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about, like, if I do a post 2 days later, there will be less than 100% that are fucking engaging in it. But yet you'll engage in nonsense. Like, if I post something about fucking Jews or, like, how someone sucks, the Squirtus time had huge engagement. Everyone's like, oh, this is great. I don't want to be that fucking guy. I like making quality, interesting shit. And I don't know if I have people. Like, I don't know. It's like, or people are just like sad, or I don't know what the fuck it is. But I have so much pressure too. It's like the expenses, the expectations, just sometimes it gets a little rough.
Owen Benjamin once said comedy is about telling the truth. The only truth left is how far he'll go to avoid the mirror. The man shouting about Nick Fuentes isn't exposing corruption. He's negotiating with his own reflection. Everything Owen envies, he hates. Every quality he's lost or never had becomes the target of his rage, his darkness, his frustration, his trauma. All of it gets projected onto whoever's shining brighter that week. In the end, Owen's war with Nick isn't about ideology or influence. It's about inheritance. Every insult toward Nick's parents mirrors the resentment he holds toward his own. Every accusation he hurls is just a line lifted from his own biography. The same rage he directs outward began at home, and he's still fighting ghosts that stopped listening years ago.
Like, the way Nick Fuentes survived was to just get on all fours and sarcastically pleasure, anybody with money. And I'm trying to say that without judgment, but it's like, is that why people are like, you're a Jew? Like, what is that, man? And so, but it's like, he's the head of the young right-wing Christian movement. And he's the gayest guy I've ever seen. Like, it's like, he's like, yeah, I like musicals. Oh my God, Emma Stone. It's like a caricature. So maybe I just have to accept that urban Gen Z is all gay. And like, to point at them, it's almost like if a generation was born out of famine and they're all short. Like, what kind of an asshole would I be if I'm just pointing at everyone saying, look how short you are? I don't know. I still think that being gay is a choice. I think that you can just not be such a mincing queen. It's like, I only eat McDonald's. Oh my God. And everyone's like, you're just jealous, Jew. I'm like, there's no way this makes sense to anyone. And man, I got to get more accepting, because like, maybe there's a control freak side in me. Normally I don't see that in myself, but I want to fix this. I want to make it right. But it is right, because this is just a natural result of shaming a group of young white boys for being themselves, and now they're all gay.
Meanwhile, Nick moves forward, growing, adapting, surviving, while Owen stays trapped in an endless therapy session that never ends. The lesson is simple. You can build a stage, an audience, even a movement, but you can't outrun the mirror. This has been Propaganda Ltd, where projection meets consequence, and the truth always finds its way through the noise. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and remember, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and don't join the cult. This is Propaganda Ltd, signing off.
That's bad parenting. Some twisted, selfish boomer treated their son like a buddy that they resented. And then they allowed that person to grow up to be that. I'm not as mad at the person saying, I am. I'm like, this person has to go. This is insanity. But I think about the parenting. What parent was like, oh yeah, that's how you go out in this world. Just unbridled resentment, entitlement, a lack of logic, don't think anything through. Everything's everyone else. You're always trying to catch someone in a lie, even though you're not, and do it publicly. And then don't do anything for yourself and live with your parents. That's literally what these people are. And they're like, oh, so you're LOL. They start with LOL. They're giggling to themselves because they're so weak and so passive aggressive that they can't even just be aggressive. I used to tell Amy, I'm like, some people are passive aggressive. I'm massive aggressive. Where it's like, they're so weak. They can't even be a dick. I have more respect for someone that's just a dick. For someone that's like, Owen, you suck. I have more respect for that person than LOL, you're totally not what you once were. You won't even go to the moon and die. LOL, you're gone. You were raised so badly that the amount of work you're going to have to do in your life and the amount of hard truths you're going to have to tell yourself and the amount of things you have to face. First of all, your dad did a bad job. You have to, a lot of people have to face that. They have to face the reality that their dad raised them badly, that their dad was selfish, their dad was absent, their dad didn't give them the structure and the order that they need. And now they're spiraling out of control. They have feminine qualities and they're scared and weak in the way they take it out on the world with these passive aggressive bullshit traits. And facing that is tough. Facing the reality that your dad didn't love you enough to train you, to discipline you, to order you, to show you how to act in life. Your dad didn't love you enough to simply not raise you to lie. That sucks. And it's never going to get better.